Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Say Gosso, the remix.
DMB, Tuck Spice, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give it the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us in your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty, what's worth of a lady. It's nice but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. But then it took a long fun I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the bus station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, a killing thigh. I found me a beautiful girl.
Body me LP,
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe, shaped like a Coke bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk, she must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together, take your place in my heart. With your beauty I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
So the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. If you touch as a breeze at night, all I really want in my life. Oh yeah, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, killing thigh. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl. What beautiful girl? Yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money. You seen her? Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMB, baby. Look.
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time, I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace several presents and gifts. Call me Santa Claus. I make a heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me Aston Kutcher. I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'ma go get her. Since I'm a go getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world. Anything for my beautiful girl.
Psych. Ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it beautiful girl. Sparkling night, killing time. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Alright, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Man of Prestige. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? Everybody, yes? Can you hear me loud and clear? Let me make sure here. Can you hear me loud and clear? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Yes? Let me see. Somebody let me know you can hear me loud and clear, then we can get started. Chilling. Let me see here. Maybe they can't hear me. Let's see. Wait till let's see. Oh, loud and clear. Thank you. All right, welcome back. How's everybody doing? Good? Awesome. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe as you're coming in. As you can see, we don't allow anybody that's not subscribed to chat anymore. I don't know if you noticed. So please subscribe. Welcome back. Today we're talking about Monster-in-Law 101. Fighting off gold diggers. This is going to be an interesting topic. Let me see who is here. Hey, D-Love. She's a gold digger called Gold Digger Ni. Ha ha. We're fighting off gold diggers today. All right, let me see. Yes, please hit that like button. Life would not say we're waiting. 5:16. I'm sorry. Some things came up and I was out there in the streets. And I had to adjust the time accordingly. Welcome. The Twinkle Gigi says, after listening to Auntie B's show tonight, I saw what you always tell us. It is pathetic to see women throwing other women under the bus, trying to play fair and spitting this. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't see that way. I wouldn't see that. But I know what you mean. I wouldn't see that way. Listen, I get accused of throwing men under the bus sometimes too. I used to get accused of that a lot until I figured out a way to kind of like, I had to learn how to listen a little bit more. A lot of listening, patience. These days, they still can sense it that I'm checking them and holding them accountable, but they're a little bit more patient because I don't give them a quick out to run away. Because when people feel like you're shutting them down, they shut down anyway. And they don't listen to the most important part of the messages. So I see what you mean, but I think it's just different in perspectives, and I think we have to be patient to get through it so that we can extract all of the lessons out. But shout out to you. I appreciate you. As you can see, I'm a man, right? So I'm Team Blue, whatever that was. Yep. We have Latu is here today. Hey, Latu. Hey. And I have Cynthia here. Look at Cynthia. Cynthia said, yay, I'm back in the comments. Hey, Cynthia, good to see you. I saw you earlier, obviously. Good to see you. I was trolling you. I don't know if you detected I was trying to troll you, but we're here. All right, good. Let's see here. What else is here that I'm missing? Making sure I'm not missing anybody. That's all. That's all. We have a very important topic to cover today. This monster in-law thing is another one of those major topics that major issues that tampers with families and often comes from a blind spot. You know, if it was as simple as avoiding, some people will say some women will say if you still have a mother, I don't want to be with you. We've heard that before. I know it's kind of extreme and crazy, we're in everybody, but some people mean that. Some people they've had mothers that have gone through woto, and it sounds like a joke, but subtly they're like they don't want their mother-in-law in their way, But there's more to that story. As always, on the surface level, it sounds cute. That's a monster in-law, blah blah blah, But all right, let me see here. Of course, I have. What else do I have here? I have Natu here, right? Yeah, Natu. Eunice. I have Eunice here. Good to see you, Eunice. I have Natu here. I have Chinya here, of course. I have. Let me see who else. Just want to make sure I shout you all out before I leave. All right, great. So we have some things to. Ladies, we have to talk. Gentlemen, you have to listen very carefully. There's nothing I say here that's for any one side of the gender. Okay? No, we're team blue. Now we're team blue. We're still team blue. Auntie B, she continues to detect me. She could tell I'm on the side of the guys ultimately. No matter what it sounds like, I'm on the side of the guys. I just they're collecting too much because of their ignorance, and I'm trying to help them. Oftentimes they have to hit rock bottom before they can listen. Okay? Oftentimes they have to hit rock bottom before they can listen. We all have to hit rock bottom before we can listen, because we're all opinionated, right? We have opinions. There's none of you are more opinionated than I am. None of you. But if I've had any kind of downfalls in life, a lot of it has come from the standpoint that I'm a very opinionated person. So, in fact, opinionated people have to be extremely careful. You have to be particular because when you're opinionated, you also have a limited capabilities to listen. You're doing more talking than you're listening. So you have to be extra intentional with listening, so you can receive, because if you're not receiving, you're not able to find your blind spot. That's why they're called blind spots. You're not capable of just seeing it just because you see it, right? And everyone has blind spots, So that's what we're talking about today. Cynthia says Africans have a problem with listening. I didn't side with anyone on a TV show yet. I'm a woman hater, apparently. Siding with me. Oh, no worries. We'll dissect it small. Although, Cynthia, I have to warn you, okay? You have a potential of being that monster in-law. Listen. Calm down. All right. Relax. Monster in-law is not necessarily a bad thing, okay? It's actually, if you have a son, it's damn near almost impossible that you won't be a monster in-law. The idea is that you're not able to agree to it. You're not capable of exactly admitting or agreeing that you are a monster in-law. That's the point. Somebody else is seeing you as a monster in-law, right? Monster in-laws, a lot of them are not necessarily doing it from a place of intentionality or evil, or they just want to hurt you. It's a territorial thing, okay? It's a territorial thing, and my job is to make you aware, okay, that you might end up, if you have a son particularly, okay, or you plan to have a son, you're not just going to wake up one day and say, I want to be a monster in-law. That's not how it works, okay? There are some people like that, minority, very, very small. They are evil. They're just evil. They're looking to hurt anything that looks like a daughter-in-law. You're right. They exist. We're not talking about them here. We're talking about the majority of the people are somewhere in between. the majority of people are not going to be on the extreme of either side. Majority of the people are not going to be a perfect mother-in-law. Majority of the people are not going to be the worst mother-in-law. Majority of the people, they're going to be in a situation where it's somewhere in between. It's not clear. Sometimes she's nice to me. Sometimes it just seems like I could never satisfy her. Right? So it's always a very tricky thing. This is why common sense in these romantic situations is always going to be end up in the poto. Sorry. That's common sense right there for you. Okay. You need a little bit more. We all have common sense. I know you know somebody that seems like they don't have common sense, but they will also tell you that they have common sense. They might even point finger at you and say you're the one that lacks common sense. Okay. So yes, I was in the background on Auntie B's show today. I came in and out. I was in there later on towards the end. Just paying attention to what people were saying. But before I continue here, I want to do a quick shout out to all this. Oh, Jesus Christ. You guys are so generous. You guys are just too generous with all the support that you give here from time to time. And a special shout out to D-Love. I want to say thank you to D-Love for always supporting us here. But I want to let me just find it really quickly. I want to make sure I do I want to do some particular shout outs here. Let me see if I can find it. God help me find it for me. Find it. I need to find it so I can do proper shout outs for all your support over time here. Let me see here. So we're still talking about Hakimi, kind of sort of indirectly. Okay. We're still talking about Hakimi. Okay. Since we've launched this platform, let me see here. This platform has done $969.42 in about 18 months or so. But in terms of super chats, $324. Super stickers, $164. Special shout out to Auntie B. She's always supporting as well. Channel membership, we have a few members. Super thanks. We have a lot of people who have supported. I'm just trying to come up with, let me see here. Where's this thing? How do I get to it? Give me 1 second. I'm going to get to it in a second. There you go. And there you go. Okay, I think I'm finding it. Let's see. All right, and then shout out to, I think we have a new member as well. Okay. Yeah, so I do have a few people that have supported over time here. Wrench, shout out to Wrench. I appreciate you, Wrench. Obodo Yimbo, of course, and to be Life with Natu, D Love, Film Girl, Chinye, Democracy, D Love. I might repeat some names here. D, Abi, Tima, Open Floor with Tima, that's Embassy, Jenny J, Abi, Obodo Yimbo, Natu, Victoria, Odili, Miss Amour, Big Bad Bull, my brother, of course. Gracious Greatness, my brother. Sir Hill, of course. Modele, Osmosis React. Temilade, right? By the way, you're all supporters if you come here all the time. I'm just making sure that I'm appreciating people. BBMJ, Miss Cole, take heed to the message. Of course, I was hanging out with her yesterday on Sir Hill's platform. D'Souza, Ricky Webster, J Bones, of course, Fawcett Media, my brother. Yeah, that's a lot of people. So I just want to say thank you so much for your support always. And we're gonna get started right about now, but right after this, right now, because I want to make sure I'm appreciating you. I'll be right back. right. Let me stop, right? Let me come to this chat real quickly. Key Pearls, shout out to you. Says, I had to stop being overprotective of my younger brother and allow him to be a man. Thank you. You're getting the message. Allow him to be a man, because this world will test him, will hold him accountable, and at some point, okay, especially after 18 years of age. I see a lot of people today saying 19 is young. Especially after 18, he will be held accountable and he won't be able to run to mommy in real life. Most likely, your son is not going to be Hakimi. It's going to be a regular guy, which is a beautiful thing in the streets, right? Shout out to you for that. Ladies, you need to understand this. I appreciate the advocacy for men. But don't forget that men are made from challenges in this real world, okay? When they complain about each other, I tell him and his wife to go to a neutral third party for help, a professional. That's what I'm talking about. Eunice, shout out to Eunice. I see Take Heed, she's here. Shout out to you. I see Jasmine. Jasmine, nice to meet you yesterday. She's here. Shout out to you. Makes me laugh every single time. Okay, you're still talking about Zazu. Zazu. Anyway, so let's talk today. A couple of things I want to address about this Hakimi story. Okay. By the way, I have a few things to cover today. I want to talk about a little bit about the Hakimi story. I'm going to do a quick review of the Love and Marriage Huntsville. The second episode was out. I'm going to do that really quickly. And then also Jasmine and Take Heed. I'm going to do a quick recap of Sahil's show yesterday. Shout out to Sahil. Of that 51st body count issue and redemption. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk, if we have some time, we'll talk about Gang of Lagos has a controversy. I don't know if you've seen that movie. There's a controversy around it. The controversy has a lot to do with emotional intelligence. And anything that has to do with emotional intelligence, I want to start pointing them out. Okay. Now, over here, we do talk about a few things. The topic scope here: relationship power, seduction, attraction, emotional intelligence. We just added self-awareness because, listen, if you don't have self-awareness, emotional intelligence, yeah, you know where that belongs, right? If you're not even able to look at self and say, let me, if you can't take a break from holding other people accountable for a second, emotional intelligence ends up in the poto. Useless. Anyway, you can download my wife and I's book at loveandprestige.com. You can also access the personal coaching over there. And if you want me to notify you every time I go live, you can go to lolaanola.com/WhatsApp. So let's get to the game today. One of the first thing I heard a lot today on this Hakimi story today was people kept saying 24 years old man. No, they said 24. No, they didn't say that. They kept saying 19 years old. Everybody's focused on 19 years old. Who is Hakimi? Hakimi is popular, now even more popular than ever before. Footballer, that's what we call them in Africa. Soccer player, professional superstar. Is 24 years old. Wife is filing for divorce and wife is demanding for 50% of the fortune. And then the wife suddenly, reportedly, discovered that he owned nothing. Everything, 80% of all his income has been going to his mother. Okay, so he has nothing. He owns nothing. Somebody said even including the clothes he wears, he owns nothing. So the 50% of nothing is what? Nothing. So they're even saying that the wife is so rich now. I mean, she's always been rich. She's a popular actress. That now they're going to have to share her own fortune. And a bunch of lame modern men, yes, I said it, lame modern men, especially Nigerians, okay, because it was trending in Nigeria heavy. They jumped on the internet and they started celebrating this. Big problem. It's not about Hakimi. My issue is with the celebration. There's nothing to celebrate when a family falls apart. Gentlemen, listen to me carefully. There's nothing to celebrate when a family falls apart. Okay? She deserves it. She's a gold digger. The woman, the mother-in-law, Hakimi's mother is now a superhero to a lot of lame modern men. Okay? It's no wonder. So I said it's no wonder. It's no wonder why the family is where it is today. On the last episode, we covered how if you want to destroy anything, you have to target the head. If you want to do a final destruction of anything, right? You target the head. It's going to take a while before you can target the head, because sometimes, you have to make sure that when you do target the head, that you do take it out, right? So sometimes you have to tackle everything else, like the arm, the body, and tackle maybe, on the legs and stuff like that, like AKA the woman in the society, the children, attack some kind of extended family, so you can distract them first. But when you're ready to take them out, you take out the head. What's the head of the family structure? The man. What's the head of the man? His mindset. You take that out, there's nothing else left. Okay? And that's my rhetorics about this. And I thought it was really, really sad that we had a bunch of, even especially, okay? Especially, we have a bunch of men celebrating this, okay? I'm not mad at the ladies that want to say, yeah, she's a gold digger, because they can relate. Kind of mad, small, but not really, because again, I understand the advocacy. You have empathy. You want to empathize with us. You're now putting yourself in the position of the man, but you're still a woman. So ultimately, you want equality, you want fairness, but men understand that there's no such thing. Okay? You can never be a monster. You're not the first that said that, Cynthia. She said, I could never be a monster-in-law. You're not the first that said that. Natu said that here a few days ago. Right? You're not the first that said that. By the way, most monster-in-laws, they would say the same thing. I know. I figured you did. Right? Most monster-in-laws, they would never admit they're monster-in-laws. That's the point, right? And I'm not talking about extreme situations, but they all think they're just trying to protect their children. They're trying to protect their son. Sometimes when men want to manipulate you to take our sides, we'll say things like, just think about this. This could be your son, right? We'll say that. That doesn't fix anything. It fixes short term. We feel good. You tell us something that we like to hear, right? But it's short term. In real life, let me say that again. In real life, men will have to show up all the time. Why? Because it's a man's world. I mean, are you going to argue with me that it's a man's world or not? Right? That doesn't always mean just benefits. It means he's responsible for the world that we live in. Okay, maybe not responsible. He will be held responsible and accountable for it. That's the way it works. I didn't say that. I didn't create that. It's just the way it is. So if we want a better world, we're going to have to face it squarely and say, hey, what can we do? And then learn how to take breaks. Learn how to monitor your resources, your mental resources. I'm not asking you to delete yourself. That's not what I'm saying. It's part of your responsibility to manage your energy, manage your resources, to speak to some of your brothers if you need a little bit of a break. You feel like you're overwhelmed a little bit. Speak to somebody, speak to an elder. I'm overwhelmed. I need a day off. I need 2 days off. I want 2 days off. I don't want to worry about anybody else, including the women in my life, right? That's part of your responsibility. Learning how to be resourceful with your energy, your resources, your time. That's what makes you a man, including the challenges that you have to go through in life. What? Don't just say Nigerian. I know. I'm the one that pushes against people generalizing a lot too. But you're right. You're absolutely correct about that. So yes, that's what we're talking about. What did Cynthia say? Cynthia says, I respect people's boundaries. What is a monster-in-law, first of all? What does monster-in-law mean to you? Tell me in the chat. What does that even mean to you? What a mother-in-law, right? What are mother-in-laws known for by people that have gone through crisis in marriage, particularly, right? What are they known for, right? That's why they kind of call them monster-in-law. What is the definition of a monster-in-law? Let me see if I can find something here that we can work with, right? Because again, it's very, very important. Let me see here. It was a movie, actually. It was some kind of movie around the idea of bad mother-in-laws, essentially. Okay. Monster-in-laws. Very unpleasant mother-in-law. Unpleasant mother-in-law. What did Cynthia say? I respect people's boundaries, especially my children. My mother isn't like that with my brother. We're not like that with my brother. You know, one of the things that happen in marriages a lot is that somebody will say, we're not raised like that. You know, in my opinion, a lot of the things that destroy marriages are not what we're peddling around the internet. That's just what was recorded at the courthouse during divorce. Things like infidelity, finances, irreconcilable differences, which they call a different name in the UK. I don't remember right now, right? None of those things actually cause divorce, in my opinion. Okay, hear me out. Okay, these are the 4-point focus right here. Okay, 4-point focus right here. Especially number 4, pride. Especially number 4, pride. Right? Pride. What do I mean by pride? We're not pompous. From where I come from, we're not pompous. We're humble. We have a very humble beginning. Wait till let us tell you. Okay, let us tell you if you're pompous or not. Okay, no, forget me. Okay, forget me. Let your partner tell you if you're pompous or not. Okay, they'll be the best to tell you. Your best teacher in your relationship, in your particular relationship, your best teacher is actually your partner. Okay, you might use the help of a professional, a coach, a counselor, a therapy, right, to help you interpret what's going on. But if they're the one just telling you what to do without understanding where your partner is coming from, they are probably the worst ever therapist, right? Okay, so very, very important, right? So one of the major issues is like where I'm from. I don't know how they raised you where you're from, but we don't do like that. That right there is pride. Listen, you might actually be correct. It might be different, but I'm digging a little bit deeper, right? Clearly, if you're talking like that at your spouse, you feel like the way they were raised, something was wrong with it, and everything about the way you were raised was perfect. Okay? So things like, Cynthia, I don't want to pick on you today. Don't make me pick on you. I'm going to avoid just your comments a little bit. She says, I respect people's boundaries, especially my children. My mother isn't like that with my brother. We're not all like that. We're not. Yeah, I get it. I can't leave my children's life. I can advise them and pray. So now here's the way it works in real life. When you do end up in a marriage, inshallah, right? The way it works is that you weren't even taking advice from your mother. But somehow your spouse has deemed it. They've looked at everything around there and they say, you know what? It's that woman's fault. I tried to call her to report her son to her, but she just told me to go and talk to somebody. She was dismissive. And in your opinion, you were doing boundaries. What did you say? I respect people's boundaries. You see how you just ended up becoming a monster-in-law so easily without doing anything. I keep telling you, marriage is nobody's mate. You're not fighting flesh and common sense. There are things beyond common sense that I'm trying to bring to your attention. Sometimes you're literally trying to set boundaries. You don't want to cross boundaries. And literally, precisely, that's how you've offended your daughter or your son-in-law. Precisely like that. Okay? That's all it took. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to be evil to become a monster-in-law. It wasn't intentional. As a matter of fact, you did nothing. You did nothing. right? Now your daughter-in-law has deemed you a monster-in-law because you were dismissive, because you said, hey, why don't you talk to a third party? The way he or she felt is you were dismissive. You just have to do that a few more times. Or maybe you overreact and you say, how come mommy can't just help us? And then he's like, no, like, and then you're like, or he said something like 2 years ago that was completely unrelated to this. Somehow he or she made up her mind. I have a monster. I can't stand her. Okay? Remember, nobody says I am a monster-in-law. Nobody says that. They don't say that usually. Okay? These are some of the angles that I want to be looking at, the blind spots. The angles that we don't see, that we tend not to really pay attention to, right? It's not only clingy and possessive mothers that become monster-in-law. Okay? Hey, Lady Navoa, good to see you. I didn't notice you. I just noticed you in there. Right? Clingy possessive is... You don't have to be clingy possessive. You just have to be deemed clingy possessive. Just pay attention to what I just said. You just have to be perceived as clingy possessive to be a monster-in-law. You don't actually have to be one. Okay? Oftentimes, you may not find out that you're the monster-in-law until years later. You may never find out, as a matter of fact. Okay? Keeper say, I realized my errors as a sister-in-law. Shout out to you, keepers. I like this balance here that's going. I realized my errors as a sister-in-law and I reflected and tried a new approach because I had gotten to a point where I hated her, but the person complaining was still there. Right? Because think about it. Imagine you're trying to do your best. You had a bad experience with your mother had a bad experience with her own version of her monster-in-law, right? And now you have, and then you have this, you're defensive. You're already feeling defensive about the idea of marrying a man who still has a mother. Let me tell you something. Again, there are modern women out there saying, if you still have a mother, they don't want to marry you. It's crazy. I know it's crazy. Like, they're weary people, right? But they do say that. I don't know if you're aware. Okay? Because of these issues. But then you ended up marrying a person that still has a mother, right? And you were like, I would never do that because my mother went through that. Precisely what you will never do. The fact that you're staying away, that you're keeping a distance, the person you're keeping a distance from, you have no idea what their personality is, right? What they actually wanted is a mother-in-law. The way they interpreted this is, I want to be close to my mother-in-law. But you're trying to keep a distance. You're trying to do the right thing. I keep telling you, this is not about right and wrong, right? That you're trying to do the right thing. And now they're like, I don't think she likes me. I don't think she likes me. How many times, especially you ladies, how many times have you been in that position? She's like, I don't think she likes me. You have no evidence whatsoever. This is just your feelings. Right? And as a matter of fact, you're not confronting that person anytime soon. This is just in you. It's a resentment inside of you. There's nothing tangible that you can claim this person did to you. But somehow you've concluded, I don't think she likes me. Right? How much more? Right? How much more? We're now talking about in-laws. How much more? She lives around the block. Right? And she just act like she's all distance. And what she was trying to do is like, I don't want the same thing that happened in my marriage about 30 years ago to happen. I just want to keep their distance and maintain boundaries. And she's interpreting that as you don't like her. What's the solution? Cynthia, I heard you said earlier, what's the solution on Auntie B Show? What's the solution? D-Love Sokwe. D-Love Alpha. She says, couldn't tell you what a monster-in-law is because my ex-mom's was fantastic. Right? Everyone's experience is different, right? In fact, the marriage crashed after she passed away because he didn't have anyone to talk sense to him. You see? Another angle entirely. Yeah, it's not my personality. So the way this works, I appreciate something that Key Pearl said earlier. When she said I had to try a new approach. It's about trying a new approach. There's no one size fits all approach. If one approach is not working with this particular relationship, this particular dynamics here, you try something else, right? You flip it, right? That doesn't mean you have to be clingy now suddenly. It just means you have to reach out a little bit more than you would, right? Say, hey, how are you, right? As opposed to, no, I just gotta be me. I hate what happened 30 years ago. I never want to do that to my mother-in-law, or vice versa. Let's say, for example, the way you're reacting is like you're clingy. Sometimes what you need to do is back off of your daughter-in-law a little bit. What does that look like? You don't even know how you offended anybody, right? That's the point. Now you have to listen. Remember, we talk about listening, right? Now you have to do a little bit more listening than coconut head. Coconut head will not work in any type of relationship. It doesn't matter. Your mother-in-law or your daughter-in-law, your in-laws, they're all forms of relationships. Yes, that you have to manage. What do I mean by manage? You have to pay attention, because these are people that your partner cares about. Right? Lady Nervous says, my mother-in-law is just that I don't talk to her. She mean AF. Jesus Christ. She Filipino too. So, they can get a little, too extra, too much. Jesus Christ. It got real. Nigerians, it's just Nigerian mother-in-law. It's just Nigerian mother-in-law. It's just them. Nigerians are always like this. Yeah. No, you're generalizing. Everyone around the world face the same issues. As long as they're human beings, everyone, they face the same issues. There's a Tanzania artist whose mom is saying Mama Ashraf is her role model. She has destroyed all his relationships, but she herself is married. Yeah, possible. It's possible, right? But like Father Oluma said, let's face our front, right? Let's see what lessons we can learn from that. Remember, what you just said here could just be the perception of that Tanzania artist. Perception is everything. It becomes real. Perception becomes real, right? It becomes the driving force. It becomes the driving force of people's feelings, which is the only thing that anyone cares about. Their feelings. That's it. She does not want them to have access to his wealth. He has 4 kids with 3 women. Most of his kids live in different countries with their moms, and it's sad. Interesting. CCOJ Cynthia says, that's not going to make you a monster-in-law. You don't determine what makes you a monster-in-law. It's the person on the receiving end of whatever it is that they are perceiving that determines if you're the mother-in-law, not you. You're not going to determine if you're mother-in-law or you're not. Okay? The only thing you can do is, when you do find out that somebody is looking at you as a monster-in-law, I should say, the only thing you can do is, how do you respond to that? There's a crisis, there's conflict, there's active conflict going on right now that you just found out about. How do you respond to it is the only thing that matters. You don't get to control if you ever be a monster-in-law or not, especially if you have a son. The only thing you can do is that if it does happen, if ever, it doesn't have to happen, I'm just saying if it does, how do you respond to it? That's the only thing that you can control. Because that becomes your action. Okay? Then that person is just an unreasonable person. I can't help that. Everybody that enters a romantic hot pumping relationship of any sort, especially romantic relationship, will become unreasonable at some point. Everybody. It's the same thing. It's basically the same thing as the monster-in-law situation. You don't get to decide if you're unreasonable or not when people's feelings are caught up in situations. they will look at the situation with their own filters and they'll be like, that's not reasonable. Or they may say he's reasonable, right? Why does the courts, why do the courts exist? The courts, like divorce courts, and right? Because people could never agree on what reasonable means, right? That's why they stay in business for life, forever and ever and ever and ever, right? People will never agree on what they think, or what two parties, right? If they end up in a fight, remember we talked about this yesterday, there's no such thing as fairness when you talk about divorce. It's a fight, right? So they could never agree on what they think is reasonable or not. That's why I was telling you a little bit about the 50% thing, right? Why you might think 50% is not reasonable, I'm asking 50% of what? And I never got that answer. 50% of what? The assets, the net worth, the income. When we say the fortune, that's a very wide, blanket something. 50% of what? One of the issues in this internet space is people will argue about percentages all the time, but they never tell me percentage of what. Like, what is it that we're, with respect to what? 20% of what? 10%? Your 10% could be much larger in amount than your 50%. It just depends on how much exactly are you hiding, right? How much did you declare at the courts, right? Why do people ask for so much, right? Because they kind of assume you're not going to declare everything. That's the assumption, because it's a fight. They're not going to assume you're going to play fair. They can't afford to assume you're going to play fair on the flip side of things when they end up in court. They're not going to assume that. Okay? Monster in-law 101. Most monster in-laws are not being evil. They didn't mean to be evil, right? Lady Nava says a mother-in-law is evil, a naga, and nosy. Usually, it doesn't come from a place of intention, right? They don't mean to be evil. The person on the receiving end will get to declare it evil, nagging, nosy. Why can't she mind her business, right? The person on the receiving end will decide that, not the monster-in-law, right? So it's very, very important that you pay attention to this. If you think you have to be intentionally want to hurt your daughter-in-law or your son-in-law, you'll miss it. That's the fastest, easiest way to become a monster-in-law. You'll miss it. Okay? Does that mean there are no evil people in this world? They are. They exist. They're still the minority. They're not most people. Okay? Because if they were just everywhere like that, the way you guys insinuate oftentimes in these conversations, it would be a war zone out here. And it's not, right? For majority of you listening to me in your soft life, in your room, on your phone right now, you're not in a war zone. Stop the cap. You're not. You're literally in soft life. Laying down on your bed, chillaxing, chewing on something, everything. Water is running, right? No generators in the background for most of you listening to me right now. You're in soft life mode. But yet, when you encounter relationship issues, you're very quick to start overreacting like you're in a war zone. You're not in a war zone. You need to calm down. It's relationships. You will hurt each other's feelings. Precisely feelings, meaning usually there's no tangible anybody trying to hurt somebody in a tangible way, but that does exist. Some people will actually try to hurt you. Hurt people will hurt people. We know that, right? Hurt people will hurt people, right? Very, very important to pay attention to. Not involving yourself in your children's marriage has nothing to do with not liking someone. Is the right thing to do. Yeah. This is that rock bottom conversation, Cynthia. This is that rock bottom conversation. Rock bottom doesn't hurt. In fact, rock bottom can be a very good thing, okay? When you hit it, the only direction you can go now is up. But you need to experience it first, right? Usually you need to be on when somebody calls you a monster-in-law and you don't really get it, you're like, what? I tried to do this. I did this for you. I did that for you. Like, you don't get it. At that point, you'll be like, oh, right? Yeah, it's going to take experience to understand what I am saying. That means you have to be on the receiving end somehow, some way, right? If you're the person that you've been hurt by, quote unquote, a monster in-law, you might not necessarily be able to relate to what I'm saying, because obviously your feelings are valid. You feel hurt by that woman. She was nosy. So you're like, no, all is trying to justify BS. So of course you can't receive what I'm saying. It's not necessarily about monster in-laws. It's about empathy, right? It's about not empathy for the other person, for yourself. You're beating yourself too much. You're giving people too much credit. You give people too much credit, so you beat yourself up, right? You think they're just thinking about you and they're looking around for you to hurt you. And then they weren't really thinking about you. They were just being humans in a relationship. Selfish, yes. Selfish is not always deliberate. We're all selfish. We're all trying to, we only care about our feelings. That's it. In fact, precisely why you would argue with me on this. How you feel is how you feel. Okay? But what I'm saying is actually absolute. It's actually absolute. It's one of the few things out there that's absolute, right? It's absolute in the sense of you don't have to agree that you've offended somebody before you've offended them. Precisely. Sometimes you've offended somebody and you didn't realize you offended them. And sometimes they're not able to tell you. They don't want to be confrontational that you've offended them. They rather call you a special type of name and just avoid you. Sometimes when they avoid you, you're actually missing out. They're missing out too, right? But that's something that we should pay attention to. I have a sister-in-law, not to have fun. I have a sister-in-law that hates me for no reason. I think right? If you say anything good about me, she's making up some negative-ish about me the next day. See that, right? Now that's real. Now, what is it that person is protecting? We don't know the details, obviously, the full details, right? But it might just be their way of protecting their own ego, right? Again, it's about not giving people too much credit when we're talking about emotional issues, particularly. I'm not talking about anything physical, assault. I'm not talking about any of those. If anybody tampers with you in that respect, you know exactly what to do. You call 911. I don't care if it's your husband or nobody should disrespect anybody at that level. But when it comes to emotional matters, you really need to start looking at it as a double-edged sword. You have to look at things as double-edged sword. Like, okay, I feel this way. Why is it? Self-awareness. Why is it that I feel this way? What are the root reasons why I feel this way? There's personality, there's the way I was raised, there's my experience, there's my temperament level, right? There's quite a few things going on there. Because we're talking about emotions. It's all over the place. It's chaotic. It's just all over the place. And the only way to get to it, to get to the bottom of things, is patience and listening. Patience, listening. Yeah, take your time. Don't give people unnecessary credit. They're not that capable. Unless you give them that kind of power, they're not that capable, including your monster in-law. Okay? Being territorial thing is a real thing. Just being territorial for no reason, like, that's my son, like, and you don't have to say it in words. It's mental, right? You get my gist. Like, it's not just something that, like, I'm gonna go do this. No, sometimes it's just mental. It's just completely mental. They just feel like, I can't stand, right? So I feel like you're giving too many people you're giving them too much power over your own emotional state, as opposed to say, hey, I don't know what's going on over there, but I'll be patient until I find out. I will ask questions if it gets too much. I'll say, hey, everything okay? Which is going to be confrontational in some form or format, because if they have to be around you, you're going to have to ask questions if they're moving mad sometimes. Like your sister-in-law. If they have to be around a lot, it's not worth it to just let it linger. You have to say something at some point, like, I feel like you don't like me. Is there anything we should talk about? If they don't have to be around you, it's probably, if they're not around you like that, it's probably not about you. There's a lot of things that people will do to you that it's not about you. And when you think it's about you, you will end up hurting yourself. You will end up in the in the McDonald's. Intentions in the poto.
You will end up in McDonald's.
If you're going to be intentional about anything, you need to start with emotional intelligence. Okay, everything else you do outside of emotional intelligence and you call it intentional is poto. I'm telling you, because you're a human being, you have feelings, you have filters. Okay, you're a human being, you have feelings, you have filters. So all this other relationship, all your in-law relationship, they are relationships, and they are relationships that your partner cares about, right? So sometimes they have biases by default, right? Because that's their family. Keep in mind, this is the family they grew up with, right? And sometimes there's serious bad behavior coming from that end. And if you overreact, you will mess things up further, right? As the mother to my son, no matter how impartial you want to be, you will have some bias. Now you're getting the gist. Now we're getting somewhere. It's like you were reading my mind, Cynthia, right? So best to stay out of it and stay it early on your kids that you won't be involved in their marriages. That's good. That's precisely what you just described. Is exactly what my mother did, and that was the beginning of how she became a monster-in-law. My own mother. It's in the book. You can go read it. Maybe to make more sense in there. Okay. She was trying to do the right thing. Okay. Up to right now, if my wife hears what I'm saying right now, she has her feelings, rightfully so. She feels how she feels. She feels like, oh no, I'm not. You're trying to say I'm crazy. No, I didn't say anybody was crazy. I'm just saying we're human beings. Okay. We're human beings. Okay. For the most part. Okay. No one is outrightly trying to hurt you. Sometimes they hurt you because they are hurt people. Sometimes they hurt you because they're overshooting. Right? They're trying to overcorrect. They're trying to correct their own past. They overcorrect. That is a thing in personal relationships. Your intentions are intact. You mean well. You try to do the right thing. But the way it was received, because of that person's filter, which you may say that's their problem. Well, that's not exactly accurate. Because if your son is involved, this is your daughter-in-law, and now you guys have to walk on eggshells around each other, that's not exactly accurate, right? But the best thing you can do about this is to basically calm down and relax and just know that it's probably not necessarily, at least not fully, about you. Okay? So, but good points. It's a great place to start from. I think Atibi was saying on Dr. Shala's show earlier today, like, make your spouse's parent, make them yours, and vice versa. I said that's a great mindset to start from. But there's more to it. Okay? Because at some point, one of the things that I resented the most was that my own mother, pay attention to what I'm saying, she was seeming like she was taking sides with my wife when I was really needing somebody to hear me out. I was like, that's clouding. I'm trying to get to the bottom of her issue and she's trying to act like she's not taking sides. Stop! That, in effect, is still bias. Even though, because you went to the extreme opposite of what you're trying to avoid. Extreme opposites destroys relationships. Okay, extreme ends, as you say, the extremes of anything destroy relationships because we're human beings. There's so many things going on, right? Going to the extreme is your way of demonstrating that you don't want to listen. You're assuming there's everything else there is to know. There's nothing else to know. There's an assumption going on there, right? As opposed to let me always listen, because actually the best soft life is in listening. I tell men all the time. I said, you're hurting yourself. You're making life hard for yourself. You think you have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. Not especially for women.
Oh, beauty.
You will never have all the answers. But you can listen. What they want, oftentimes, anybody, not just women, just to feel heard. Sorry about that. That's what most people want, just to feel heard. Just to feel heard is what most people look for sometimes. That's what they're looking out for, just to feel that somebody's hearing them out. They should speak to professionals or third party outside of the family. I'm not disagreeing with that. Absolutely, I would never disagree with that. Just so you know, that's absolutely correct. If there are major issues like that, yes. But I'm talking about a lot of the nuances that are not necessarily extreme. Like, it's not like a toxic argument is going on. They're not threatening each other with divorce yet. It's just a little misunderstanding that will happen here and there. Disagreement that happens in real life. Just about. No, take the baby to school. No, don't take the baby to school. No, can you have mom pick him up? No, I don't want to bother mommy. Why not? I don't want to bother, things like that, like little things that's happening. That's typical things, it's happening around the world that tend to become irreconcilable differences later on. That's what I'm talking about. No one talks about those things. Everybody is talking about extremes. 50% of $7 million per year. That's what everybody finds sensational on the internet, rightfully so. I understand it because they're entertaining. But no one is talking about what you and I have to deal with on a daily basis. That's what I want to talk about. D-Lo says, I may get backlash for this. Yes, you will. But I think women need to be patient and nice to their mother-in-law because she can be your greatest ally. That's a good point. I don't know why you get backlash for that. This is Men of Prestige. Right? Patience. We're talking about listening, patience on all ends. If you're the mother-in-law, you need your ability to be able to listen and be patient more than your ability to not be biased, because you're biased by default. Even when you decide, like, you know what, let me not take the side of my son, let me go to the other side. It's the same thing. It's just polar opposites. It's the same exact thing. It's if not worse. Okay? What you need to do is something that a lot of human beings are not capable of doing. Patience and listening, right? Without feeling the need that you have to have answers. You don't have to have answers. Because oftentimes when people finish regurgitating and telling all their stories, now they calm down and they're like, I don't know why I punish myself like that, but thanks for listening. Including men. Sometimes all they need is someone to listen. You're overworking your engine. You're overworking yourself. You're not God. You cannot figure out everything ever. There's no absolutes when it comes to this relationship thing. This is why the brute force anything is anti-seductive, because human beings don't operate that way. They don't care about your right and wrongs. They already know what right and wrong is. They know how to go to church if they want to go to church and ask for forgiveness. They don't need you to judge them. Oftentimes, they just need to vent. And if they feel unsafe around you, they won't be able to explain it in words. They just be like, I don't know why. I don't like that person. To the point that they might bad talk to you, like Natu said, they might even end up bad talking you. Sometimes people bad talk you, they're like, wait, why am I saying that? Or they don't realize they're already bad talking you, because then you have to hear something from a third party. I'm like, why are you talking about me like that over there? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Well, that made me feel some type of way. Now they've hurt your feelings, right? And then you go back to your husband and you say, do you know this is what your sister did? And it's like, oh, she didn't mean it that way. And now your husband just hurt your feelings too. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? That it's just becomes like a snowball effect, right? And you can't really pinpoint a place where somebody is just trying to be outright evil. These are just people in relationships. We're talking about Monster-in-Law 101. We're talking about relationships. Okay? Stop thinking that you have to be intentionally a monster-in-law to be one. That's not how it works. That's just not how it works. That's not reality. That's the way the story is told. That's the way you perceive the story. Your feelings was hurt. You're not abnormal. You're like the rest of us, okay? Your feelings was hurt, right? And so you had to call it something. That person, you point fingers, right? Something that most of us like to do, right? Point fingers. She did this, she did that. And if you look around you, you'll find enough things to accuse them of. Enough. There will be enough nosiness, things you can deem nosiness, nagging, right? Why can't she mind her business, right? Or that girl is wicked. She's trying to steal my son's money. Why is she asking for 50%? You don't even know what 50% of what we're talking about. But somehow 50% sounds unfair, unreasonable to you. And right? Remember, we're not talking about Kimi's mother. She's just teaching us something. We're not talking about her really, because I don't know what 50% or what she did. I don't know the background of why all the money is going into her name. Everybody is claiming she's the hero, but again, we don't know if it's the son that actually decided together from day one. That has nothing to do with nothing. What I know is how everybody has reacted to this, right? So monster-in-law is one of the reasons why people go into a relationship with this defensive mechanisms, and then in the same breath expect to build anything worthwhile from that marriage.
Not be juju be that.
Like, who exactly are we deceiving? Remember, that's her baby. She's just watching out for her baby. Yeah, she needs to have emotional intelligence too. Her daughter-in-law may not be capable of that. Okay? It's somewhere in between, right? It's not extreme of any type, right? Whoever is complaining to me is who I am trying to say, hey, you have power. If you can complain, you can also engage your power in this emotional dynamics here right now. If you're the daughter-in-law, you say, why can't she just mind herself and business? I will be like, what do you mean mind her business? Then I might have to push in the angle of D-Love and say, hey, the person you're talking about, you realize that's the mother and, they grew up with them. Okay, you need to have that empathy first. Even if you're going to create any kind of adjustment, you need to have that empathy first to understand that this is a mother and the territorial thing we're creeping, she's not intentional about that. It's just what it is. That's her son, right? If it's the mother complaining to me, right? Yes, precisely complaining, okay? If it's the mother complaining to me, I'm like, what did she do? Well, she seems like she doesn't come and cook for me. She's like, well, Mama, what do you mean come and go? She doesn't call me every weekend. Mama, when you were growing up, did you have cell phones? No. Before, did you call your own mother-in-law every weekend? No, but there was no cell phone. Exactly, there was no cell phones. Can you have some empathy? They just happen to have cell phones. They don't necessarily sit around the cell phone while they're looking for people to call. They are busy with life. See, I have to talk to the mother-in-law. This type of empathy is not going to simultaneously ever come from both sides at the same time. That's not how it works. There's no simultaneous anything. Oh, he's going to take two people. Shout out to Ricky. He kept saying it takes two people. No, it doesn't take two people to start anything. Eventually, the result is what you're talking about when you're talking about two people. No, it doesn't start with two people. You're talking about the end result. When two people are having a harmonious relationship, that's the end result. What happens before that? Oftentimes, one person is going to have to be the leader in the direction that you want. One person will have to be like understanding so that they can bring the other people along. Shout out to Reckless. He mentioned that last night. Sometimes you just have to humble yourself a little bit to long enough to get the other person on board. And then to people on the outside of that relationship, it looks like, oh, they are like best friends. Her mother-in-law is so lovely. You didn't see what happened in the background before that. You were not there in the beginning. You have no idea. If you see my every Friday now, my wife and my mother, they hang out. If you see that now, you'll be like, oh, it's perfect. They're like best friends, right? Not only that, they will go around, they'll pick her own mother, they'll pick her mother, then another, my second mother. And they will hang out on Fridays. They'll go to fashion designer house, tailor's house. To you, you're like, oh, it's perfect. You have no idea what you're talking about. It takes someone to be humble. It takes someone to talk in their feelings temporarily to get into that space. If you're not that patient, it's going to linger longer. Hey, listen, I'm asking you for some kind of negotiations here, some kind of patience, right? Well, that's real life. That's what it's going to take. It might take you first, or if you're willing to wait and have coconut head, you can wait until if that person never comes to the table, because they may never come to the table. So at some point you have to say, why do I care about this relationship? Is it because of my husband, my wife, right? And the first step is to calm down. Calm down. I'm not even asking you to do anything yet. Calm down with the finger pointing behavior, because you're hurting yourself in the process. But thanks for that point, D-Love. In my own family, they really know how to entertain the side chicks. Voila. And when I voiced objection, I was considered the black sheep, but they know now not to bring anyone around me. Yeah. That's a deeper one, you know. Obviously case by case situation, you know. But ultimately, I'll tell you what. If they're entertaining a side chick from your husband, their own brother, there's more to it. You're probably focused on the wrong things, okay? Because if my brother start bringing, my own blood brother, if he starts bringing some side chick around me, what do you think? I'm going to go tell the wife? No, tell me. And when you do tell me that I should go and tell the wife, tell me the benefits in that, as opposed to the other side. Then we can have that conversation. That's a complete... See how that just went out of control real quickly, right? Yeah. So even if I want him to do the right thing, I will have to do the same thing. Calm down. I need to listen. Be patient. He needs to tell me a story. Why are you participating in bad behavior? And why are you so comfortable to bring your side chick around me? First of all, it's also important to pay attention that obviously it's comfortable to bring them around me. Why? Because I'm participating in the same behavior? No, not necessarily. That's a myopic way of looking at it, right? But there's more to it. But that's a good one too, you know. That's what Cynthia was saying earlier, the bias. Like naturally, just like, so you should just call them and check them. No, calm down first. This righteousness stuff is hurting a lot of people. Yes, I said it. Your righteousness in the eyes of God. Relax. There's more to it. Calm down. You can only see so far. If you don't have any foresight, righteousness is nothing, you know. Gotta be careful. That's why you don't need to go to your parents with marital issues, Ola. They can't win. They're involved regardless. That's an assumption that I went to them with marital issues. What if I didn't go to them? What if she went to them? Right? But ultimately, you're correct. You're correct. If I had a choice, you should never, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. If you have a choice, if there's something comes up, crisis, ever, never, don't go there. But when people get caught up in their emotions, they all do the wrong things, you know, just in the spirit of the emotions. That's raging, right? So, but you're correct. Brother can't stand the relationship between his sister with his wife. She's a good woman. We're just protecting her. These are the issues. I think biologically, family relationship will adjust a little bit once marriage is in the picture. Should is a fantasy. You're absolutely correct too. But the word should makes it a fantasy. It doesn't. It's going to take some friction before it adjusts. That's the reality. Expectations. Managing your expectations around human beings. Human emotions, not be anybody's mate. Okay? In fact, the worst ones are the ones that will say, I will never. Shout out to Cynthia. Cynthia, I'm going to drop the link just in case you want to call in later. I'll drop the link in a little bit. The couple should be allowed to figure out themselves as a unit. Another should. Fantasies. But you're right. On paper, that's what it's supposed to be. In reality, adjust your expectations so that you actually put all your energy in learning how to respond when people do the wrong things because they get caught up in their feelings. That's where all the energy should be going right now. Conflict resolution, crisis resolution, conflict resolution. That's where all your energy should be going, because people will do what they do. They will mess up. They will do all the wrong things when it feels right. Precisely. Don't give them too much credit. Don't give people that much credit. Don't give yourself. Get your ass off of that pedestal. Okay? I know it's tough. If they don't like you in general, though, every mother wants the best for her child, as we gotta build that relationship. The opposite is not healthy for anyone. Yes, at some point you will need to adjust, but it starts with, again, stop giving people that much credit. They're not capable, for the most part, of being that evil. If anything, I want you to see it as human emotions and learn how to manage them for your own good. From a very selfish place, I'm going to control these people like puppets. That's where I'm driving you to, where you can literally, seemingly control people like puppets, but not that kind of control. I mean influence. Influence in terms of control that involves patience. You're also giving them value and time. That's what I'm talking about. If it doesn't involve time, value, and patience, that's bad behavior. It's not gonna work. You will hurt yourself trying to control other human beings. It doesn't work anyway. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, especially when you're camouflaging it as holding them accountable. It's even worse. It's even worse. MOP is looking for your trouble today. No, Cynthia is my G. She's not Cynthia G. She's just my G. But the ones that don't like me are blocked. Wala, 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 wala. Not to. Some of you are finger happy with these blocking things, right? Some of you are too finger happy. You gotta be careful with that. Some people need to be blocked. But majority of people that are blocking, majority of your blocking is probably overreacting. I think I've blocked, in the last 10 years, I probably have blocked 2 people ever. Okay, 2 people. Does that mean people have not hurt my feelings? What do you think? You think people have not hurt my feelings? Right? See, I understand no time for negative energy, but if you have to block them, that means they're not really around you like that. They're literally across the other side of your phone. Be careful with blocking people. Sometimes they may need to call you to save you. But I get you. Some people need to be blocked. I've had to block maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 2 in the last 10 years. At least since we've known anything about blocking. I just don't think it's necessary to be blockity, for the most part. It's probably your own energy you have to manage. But yes, that's all I have to say for today. We might continue the conversation another time about monster in-laws, fighting off gold diggers. You're not going to be able to fight off gold diggers. If your son falls in love, even if he's 19, if in fact it's worse, if he's 19 and he falls in love with a gold digger, you can't stop him. Stop the cap. You cannot stop your 19 years old who falls in love.
Stop the cap.
Who falls in love with a gold digger. Stop the cap. I was hearing a lot of people saying on Antibi show, if you can control, that's the point. You can't control. The younger they are, the worse. The harder the coconut head is. You can't tell them nothing. He fell in love with a 31-year-old woman. Emotional, your mate. Maybe they whine us. You're whining us. Okay? That's unrealistic. Again, another unrealistic. Can't you control your wife? No, you can't. Literally. Especially you that you think you can control a person. Especially you, because that's why you're whining and complaining about it. You're not capable of having influence on human beings. You haven't earned it. They don't respect you. They've lost respect for you. So you can't help yourself but to complain, aka begging for affection and desire. Worse, you lack patience. You lack understanding. More importantly, you lack emotional intelligence. You're trying to control human beings. In 2023, will it work? It cannot work. How do I know? Because you've proven it to me. By complaining that it's not working. What do you want me to tell you? Okay? It's not working. Okay? It's not working. So there's a difference between everybody is talking about that 19-year-old. No, it's not. We're not talking about 19 years old. We haven't been talking about 19 years old. We're talking about a 24-year-old grown man with 2 kids. Your 24-year-old son with 2 kids is no longer, and by the way, has never been your property. You don't have that kind of control. Oh, but I can advise them. That's how you start. That's how you start becoming a monster in-law. You mean, well, you're just trying to protect him. That's how you become a monster in-law, precisely. That mindset is precisely what turns to a monster in-law. I'm not going to shame you for wanting to protect your son. Okay? Some of you, it's not a matter of monster in-law issue. When the father is trying to hold him accountable, maybe he's 13, 14, 15, you're in the way. You're trying to save him. And now he's 19. He decided to fall in love with a 31-year-old, quote unquote, his own wife gold digger. And you're now coming out and you're saying that's a gold digger. No, you're a monster in-law. That's the mindset of the monster in-law. They never see that that's what they're doing. They're doing it from a place of good intentions. They're trying to protect their son. That's the way it works. That's the reality. I can never allow my child. Who told you have that kind of power to allow your child? The younger they get, the worse it gets. You might even still be able to control your 24-year-old son more than your 19 years old. Did you know that, or you didn't know that part? The younger they are, the more coconut head they have. The older they get, they realize that life is not that hard. It's not that deep. They calm down. They've hit rock bottom. They've hit rock bottom. They're able to listen a little bit better. They realize that their power is more so in listening and patience than talking, than having opinions that are not tested. Okay? Those are the issues right there. Let me show you some things here before we continue, because I'm not sure if we'll continue this because this topic is a topic that keeps giving, which is a good thing, because any real life thing that's happening that we can get some lessons from, I'm always appreciative of it. Okay? I didn't get to what Solomon Bucci said and one other pastor about this topic earlier on, and I want us to make sure that we get to it. This is one of those days that I can't drop the link too early. Sorry. Just want to get through some material here. Let me share my page with you. Then we'll get to it. Is monster in-law a bad thing or a good thing? Neither. This relationship to expand up in either your son-in-law or your monster-in-law. To understand that this is a real thing. It keeps repeating. The story keeps fresh every time, and people never learn from it because it comes from a blind spot, not some mathematical equation where we say, or the monster. It's easy to just avoid it, right? The reason why they can't is because it's coming from a blind spot. It's not intentional for the most part. Okay, let me see. Can you guys see this? Okay, yes you can. Okay, this guy said, I made my first 1 million naira at 17 and handed everything to my mother, Rema. I'm like, dude, you're still 17. Get the hell out of here. Thank you. You're still 17. Shut up. But anyway, let's go to Solomon Bucci is a life coach in Nigeria. Putting all your fortunes to your mom's name is off. Your wife should be your next of kin. Listen, including me earlier on. Sound is distorted. Is my sound distorted? Let me know. I could check. So, no, my sound is good actually. No, it's not 17 now. I just wanted to drag him a little bit. Now let's go to some serious talk, Jerry. I beg. This guy said, Solomon Bucci, life coach. It says your next of kin should be your wife, not your mother. Your assets should have your wife's name on them too. It depends. I wasn't saying that either. If you listened to me yesterday, if you're trying to protect assets, you don't put it in persons' names. Okay, there are professions that can help you around structuring. When we talk about this kind of significant asset, there's more to it than putting it in persons' names, including yourself. You need to protect your assets from yourself. This idea of protecting assets from women is problematic. This is a blind spot for men. It's a blind spot for lame men, which is majority of men right now, unfortunately. Okay? It's useless. Okay? You need to be protecting those assets from you first. When you think you're protecting from persons or a person, you're pointing finger. It's a pointing finger behavior. Pointing finger behavior will create problems for you. You're putting yourself on a pedestal and it creates bigger blind spot for you. You're a human being like the rest of them. You will never be that perfect thing you're portraying. I don't care how good the family you came. I was that guy. I came from a good family. And, that was me. Okay, terrible pride in its worst form. Okay, this is biblical marriage. You have become one in holy matrimony. That's manipulating people with Christianity. He's right, but if people can come from the other angle for you with that Christianity stuff. If you can't trust a woman with your riches, don't marry her. I agree. Why marry who you don't trust with your all? I say you can't trust yourself. He's saying, anyway, let's keep going. But I get where his heart is coming from. His mindset is in the right place. Much, much better than a Reno or Mockery. Okay? This will probably get a lot of pushback from the red-pilled movement. They're everywhere, I told you. Like rodents. Anyway, because of the recent Hakimi's case, a successful footballer whose wife filed for divorce and division of his assets and properties only to discover that he put all his fortunes in his mother's name. Hence, she has nothing to gain from incentivized Western divorce culture. This seems pragmatic. It does seem pragmatic. And lame men, they can't wait till something is pragmatic. They're happy. Their prick is hard because something is pragmatic. And they miss out big time on the bigger picture. Right? It seems pragmatic, but it's not right and ideal. This one is focused on right, but I'll give it to him. Okay? I can imagine the mammoth defense that some mommy's boys will get today. Mommy's boys. Putting all your fortunes to your mom's name as a married man is off. You basically just shot that family on the legs. That marriage, you shot it on the leg by that behavior. Okay, just so you know, if you're moving this way, if this is your mindset, you don't have to be rich as Hakimi. If you're this guy who thinks this was the smart, wise move, you're better off staying unmarried because it will show up in a different way. But it's basically you thinking that your wife is always going to be your enemy. You're right, but you're better off staying unmarried. You're absolutely right.
You're right.
You're better off staying unmarried. Don't marry is what I meant, okay? It shouldn't be so. And yes, women will also marry rich men with intentions to incentivize the marriage through later divorce are wrong too. See, everybody is doing moral police. But we can't correct a wrong with a wrong. Facts. You'll hurt yourself. Hurt people. Yes, people behave that way, but effectively hurt themselves. Okay? Literally, the scripture states that a man needs to leave his father and mother to be married. Let me see. Jesus Christ. This means a reprioritization after marriage. Your wife becomes your number one. Your mother is still your mother, but you're not one with her. You're just relatives with her. Nigerian men, you're just relatives. No, sorry. You're just a son and a relative with your mother. Okay? She's one with your dad, hopefully. Respect them, but your immediate priority is your wife. This is a mindset issue. There are lots of women who put their children before their husband. It's the same problem. Your children, even when they are minors, are relative. Your husband comes first. If you can't do that, you're better off staying single. You're shooting the marriage on the leg before it gets started. Okay? And everything about you, she must have access to. As much as this sadness, this guy is happy finger, by the way. It's a lot. He's probably naive too, like Peter Okoye. But let me just leave them alone because that's another topic for another day entirely, okay? As much as these sad things happen, I'm trying to reconcile us to how things should be. Christian men shouldn't be thinking in this manner. Willing all you have to your mom as a married man now. They're doing the same thing you're doing when you're bringing Christianity into this. It has nothing to do with that. They're doing the same thing you're doing. It's just the way they interpreted Christianity. Okay? You know that part, that scripture in the Bible that says women should be silent? You know that part? See, it's selective outrage for all of you. Let's be honest. Okay? But I just want you to see here that the extremes of both ends are not correct. Either you are saying she's a gold digger or she's just innocent. You are the same person. If you say this guy's wife, ex-wife to be, is innocent, you are the same person as the person that says she's a gold digger. You're just the same person. Okay? If you're saying that assets should not be protected between a husband and wife, you are the same person as the person that says write it off to your mother. You are the same person. Okay? Assets, significant assets, should be protected. It's just not from a person you're pointing finger at. Because if you tend to point finger at people, there's somebody coming in your blind spot to come and steal from you anyway. Okay? There's somebody coming to come and steal from you regardless. It starts with you, with your bad spending behavior. Maybe you're too frugal and you don't know how to invest properly. You're holding on to cash. You don't want to let cash go because you came from poverty. Even just as worse, right? So let's keep going. As much as these sad things happen, I'm trying to reconcile us to how things should be. Christian, okay. And men, do your due diligence before you marry. If you can't trust her, don't marry her. That's another angle that we need to talk about. This whole idea of trusting, right? Of course you should trust the person, but oftentimes when people say that, they're waiting for trust to fall out of the skies. They don't want to put any effort into the actual trust in a person, right? They're waiting forever. They're scared of making a move. They don't know when to say, you know what? I'm going to take a leap of faith, because they can't trust, because they're waiting for trust to fall out of the skies. Trust, to a large extent, when it comes to marriage, has to be an action word, not a reactive thing, not a thing that happens to you, right? To a large extent, you're just going to have to choose to trust, okay? But I understand it's hard if you're insecure. It's just hard to trust if you have reasons to be insecure, right? But that's a conversation for another day, right? Because marriage without trust is like roommates living together. Yeah, that's the exact reason why some people are staying single for a long time. Because they're waiting for... They agree with that, which I agree with it, but the way they're interpreting it means if it doesn't feel natural to trust, it's better to... That's how they're doing it. It's a difficult one. I understand. Let's keep going. Hakimi did it. Christian marriage is not a place to fight to protect. I agree with that. It's a place to give. Something must give. I agree with that. Something must be at risk. 100%. I agree with that. We don't truly love if we aren't risking anything. Fact. I agree with that part. What if she changes? There's no guarantee for anything in life. Gentlemen, you in particular need to know that. There is no guarantee in life. Okay? You're wasting a lot of energy looking for guarantees. You're missing out on life and love. Anyway, let's keep going. We have no guarantee for tomorrow, but we make plans for the future. Just because there's a possibility of change doesn't mean we should plan with the wrong mindset. Plan to protect yourself at all costs, right? The desire to control everything makes one a wretch. It doesn't mean a wreck, or do they say it like that too? It does make you a wreck. It does. You're missing out. Take your time. Marry who you can trust. Scriptures let us know that our bodies are literally the temple of God, yet you can trust your partner with your body, but can't trust them with your money. That's how you know what you worship. know that you worship money. This thread has little to do with Hakimi. I've been saying that, right? This series has very, very little to do with Hakimi. It's a case study. It's for the gullible Christian men there who will glean wrong ideologies from this because it's a pop conversation. I agree with him for the most part. No matter how evil the world is, we need to do what is right. If we're cheated for doing good, our compensation is eternal. Somebody's like, eternal vitibao. I don't believe in God. Anyway, bless you all. Marriage is between a man and a woman forged into a team. They put all they have together in trust and union to build and preserve their family legacy. It's two of them against the world in highs and lows. No competition, no mind games, no dishonesty, no deceit. Anything outside of this is war. We've been talking about this, right? Competition. Marriage doesn't work with you competing against your partner. It's just an oxymoron, right? It's you and her against the world. It's you and him against the world. Okay? That's the goal. Don't marry the weapon fashioned against you, Yabi, in the name of you just want to get married. And it's true. Some people, I heard a few people say, some people just get married just because they want to get married. And that's why I've heard the people say that. And they're correct. I'm seeing a lot of that going on. But I think for the most part, the biggest issue here is everybody's just afraid. There's fear. I think fear is a bigger weapon right now than the people that are married just to marry. Okay? You're not yet married, but you've planned how wicked and deceitful you'll be in marriage. I can't disagree with that. I've been saying that for how many days now?
Not be juju be that.
Why not put that energy into marrying right? No. Put that energy into remaining a very single person, a wholesome person, right? And if you do a good job doing that, you won't last on the market. You just won't last on the market. A lot of people are not doing any work on themselves, but they are actively pointing fingers. They are looking out to protect themselves, spending a lot of energy on defense mechanisms. Okay? Marrying right is a function of being a wholesome person, working on yourself. Okay? I bet you can. Okay, it's hopeful. It's a hopeful person. All right, so that's one right there. I just wanted to make sure I cover that because I don't know if I'll get to this story again. There's a woman. Let's talk about a woman, Mary Njoku. She had an opinion about this. Shout out to Instablog Niger. Wife should have waited for him to mature, or better still, made her own money. She couldn't wait. I agree. 19 years old is young. That's true. But it's also true that a 19-year-old man is a man. Will be treated accordingly, like an adult. Okay? And that's going to be the reality, not shoulds. Shoulds are fantasies. What did she say? Should have waited. The reality is that she did not wait. Why is it that she did not wait? That will be more of an interesting thing to take a look at and observe and try to learn. What was it about these two people that the reality had to be the direct opposite of everything that should be? Should is a fantasy. It's not the reality, right? And I tell you, as we move into the future, it's still going to remain a fantasy because every time we use the word should, it's fantasy. Is what could have, what would have, could have, should have, would have. Fantasy, not the reality. For as long as we continue to think we learn anything from should, we'll end up in the same but. Your best bet is to learn why people are creating the reality that they create. That's the first step, at least. That's your best chance of avoiding what is. Okay? All right. So, how do you marry? She says, how do you marry a teenager and expect him to be independent of his parents? is no longer a teenager. He was a teenager. And at 19, he was an adult. An African teenager, a footballer, teenager with a lot of money, a lot of access. Okay? An African teenager, typically they're not marrying at 19. Now, depending, of course, so like Natu said earlier, in the North, depending on certain culture, religion, yes. But we're talking about footballer in the Western world. He didn't marry a person that's wearing hijab, right? He married a person that's in that world, a celebrity, okay? So this is all unrealistic expectations at best. There is no sane African mom who will let go completely of her teenage child. That's the problem. You see, monster in-law. Monster in-law, they never say I'm monster in-law. They will say things like, there is no sane African mom who will let go. Completely is to kind of like tone it down a little bit. I will let go a little bit, but I will tone it down a little bit. That's monster in-law right there. You will see. Wait for it. Be patient. I'm patient. Let's revisit the topic 5 years from now. You will see it everywhere. Okay? You will, just because I brought your awareness to it, you will start seeing it everywhere suddenly. You know that car that suddenly you bought and you start seeing it everywhere suddenly. Exactly. Today, Etiraja. You understand me? So now you start seeing it everywhere. You start paying attention to it. She said, let go, that who will let go completely of her teenage child. That's a sort of way to say, yeah, I might be a monster in-law, but not really star. I'll be a mon in-law. A little bit of a mon, maybe that in-law, just protects my child. Why? Because he's 19. He's a 19-year-old celebrity. At best, this is cap. Big time.
Stop the cap.
Pikin, wey suppose they do A-level. Is he doing A-level? See, suppose don't enter. Suppose has entered the room. Another fantasy. That's not the reality. This is not a Pikin where they do A-level. This is a Pikin who is a footballer superstar. Your own reality is going to be your own reality one day. It won't look like A-level versus football superstar. But your ability to face your reality and say this is what it is your first step to creating a different result. If you can't acknowledge that this is what it is, you will continue to struggle. You will create the same result over and over again because you have a hard time seeing reality for what they are. Okay? Abi because na star. Most of the contracts, she finally got to it. She said Abi because na star. Most of the contracts were probably signed when it was underaged, so it wasn't intentional. She's right about that part. Okay? But when they become of age and they're signing new contract, is he in the same club since he was a teenager? Did he not sign new contracts since then? Stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
Every successful teenage athlete, there is a mom, dad, guardian who believed in them more than they believed in themselves. These are the excuses that monster in-laws tend to give. I was the one. I raised him. There's no daughter-in-law that's coming here. They don't say it in words. It shows up in the behavior. In a very subtle way. That they can't see themselves. Because if they could see, they will stop the behavior. Right? It takes another person to point it out. Right? Because think about it. They invested in them. They believed in them. How long is it going to take to reap back all those investments? It's a mindset. It's an entitlement mindset. And basically, they're shooting themselves on the legs. Because if you have a son who is capable, who is competent, and he can raise a family, you'll benefit more from everything else that will happen outside of money. You'll benefit more. You'll be happy. You have peace of mind. Right? But sometimes boss is toxic and it's intoxicating. That's what some people like sometimes. They can't stop themselves until after the fact. Like, why did we go through all of that? That was so toxic, right? It's real. A parent will put in everything: money, time, prayers, investment. What's the expectation if you're spelling all this out? Right? What is the expectation if you're spelling all of this out right now? What's the expectations? You must reap where you sow, right? investment, return on investment, ROI. No be so. That's the mindset of a monster in-law. It's not intentional, not exactly. They mean well. It's the heart of a mother, the mother of a son. You don't have to want to be bad to create bad effects. A parent who put everything, she capitalized everything. Money, time, prayers, emotional, physiological, support, tears, scolding. Someone who sacrificed the most they had just to make sure their child stood out. She's making common sense. She's not wrong. At least not in the short term. The only thing she doesn't see is the next 30 years from now. She can't see that far. The only thing she can see is the investment in a 24-year-old superstar footballer, right? That's all she can see, right? No, we're talking about footballer, but not really, right? I'm talking about the mindset. The mindset here. This is how monster in-laws are created. Monster in-law 101. That's what we're talking about. A teenager boy is his mother's son. A man is his wife's husband. She for wait small, make him mature. If she waits small, make him mature, let's say 5-7 years, when he was like 27 years old, at that time she'll be like 47. He could still fall in love with a 47-year-old clean woman. She's a good looking girl, right? Would that stop a monster in-law from saying this is a gold digger? If their marriage lasted 4 years, 5 years, and then there's some kind of rape allegations and cheating allegations, and she demands for 50% of what we don't know, right? Would that stop social media from saying she's just greedy? I'm guessing not. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Would that stop them? I'm guessing not. Right? She for wait small now, make him mature. A 19-year-old, it's not mature. I agree. Is he an adult? Yes. I know 27, 37-year-old immatured men personally. I'm not naming names. I know them personally. Okay? These are the issues. These are the issues. Let me see. How far have we gone? What time is it? Jesus Christ. This is my talking day. Somebody said, why does she want to leave right now? Why does she want to leave right now? Why can't she wait until he's convicted with the case on ground, with the allegations? Why? Why does she want to leave right now? You're right. Ideally, she should stay, be supportive, right? She should stay, be supportive, and wait, and just wait until if there's a conviction, and then she's free to leave. If she does that, will she not be exonerated from being called a gold digger? I'm asking the chat. If she waited, let's be honest though, because I'll call the cap right now. If she waited until they convicted, if he was actually guilty, will the social media mother-in-laws, out of respect, let me start saying mother-in-laws henceforth, would they say, oh yeah, she's no longer, since she waited for so long, would they now say she's not a gold digger anymore? I'm asking though in the chat, I beg answer me. Would they now say, yes, she tried now, she tried? Would that be good enough? I'm asking. I'm honestly asking. Would that be good enough? Would they like leave her be so that? Keep in mind, I'm not saying she's not a gold digger. Let's be honest. You see a 19-year-old superstar. This is not your 19-year-old typical anybody in a village somewhere in Tanzania. Okay, this was a superstar. They met in certain circles. Okay, so there is a good chance that she saw green leaf. on his head. Okay, there is a chance. Let's not cap about that. I just don't think that's the most important angle to this topic. I don't, especially since men are the most ones celebrating here, and I think it's a massive blind spot for them because the day they will collect woto from all angles, not just from blind spots. With that mindset, right? Because you think you're hiding something, but yeah, you lose your family, which is what I know you care about the most, right? Yeah, so would they like let her go now suddenly? Would they let her be if she suddenly, in an ideal strange world, she decides to wait until the end? I don't think so. I do not think so personally. Let me come to the chat and then we can move on to some additional topics that we have for today. Oh, let me see. Let's go back a little bit. Keeper says the internet is never satisfied. There will always be a faction that will think she made a wrong decision whether she stays or leaves. Thank you. Cynthia says Tanzania catching stray bullets. Cynthia, you're not Tanzania, you're Uganda, right? Thank God. I think you're Uganda, not Tanzania, from what I remember. Anyway, Bon Chan says it is part of the divorce process to ask for a portion of the wealth built during the marriage. In many places, 50% is the normal range. You may get it or you may get more or less. That's a fact. I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke wigger. Yes, that's true. Shout out to one of our biggest party here, one of our G's. Yeah. Let me see here. She is saying nah. They will still say she's a gold digger, right? Is that what you're saying? Some people have a healthy respect for bacteria and viruses. If he cheated, then grape or no grape, she's within her right to file. See, that's more realistic. I tell people, listen, even without the grape allegations, if you cheated, gentlemen, I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you. It is what it is. People have their reasons for participating in bad behavior. If you do, there are consequences. There's no guarantee that your partner is willing to stay with you. The more you think of it as a guarantee, any close you think about the idea that it's a guarantee she should stay, after all, men that's a delusion. That you're delusional, right? And you're going to push her even further away just with that mindset alone. Okay. Yep. 19, you're still a teenager. Two things can be right at the same time. Still an adult. 18, you're a teenager, you're an adult. Bukayo Saka, what are we talking about? Let me see here. The UK Nigerian footballer is 18 or something. His parents still manage his money and is given allowance. That's fine. Is he married with 2 kids? And I'm guessing you're acknowledging that he's not 24. Yeah, 24 to 19 is quite a stretch. That was basically between my freshman year in college and the first year of my master's degree, essentially. That's far apart. Those are 2 different people altogether. Nothing is legal hidden. If the wife didn't take time to find out how and where the money was coming from, then that's on her. How are you married and you don't know the finances of your? That's a good question, but it's also a question. I heard somebody say that on a TV show earlier. It's a question that will question the notion of people saying she's a gold digger. This question, if it's so valid, which I think is valid, it will put a dent on the idea that she's a gold digger. Because if she's a gold digger, she would have done enough research to know that the money is going to a place where she won't be able to access it, which I think that's false too. She can access it if she wants. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Voila. Yeah. Hey, Rebecca, good to see you. Maybe they're doing. Let me see what she said first. D-Love, he has always had his money with his mother. It's not something that started today. Yeah, the contract that he has today, was that with his mother? Is that the same contract from the beginning? I'm curious. Is that the same contract? Has he signed with a few teams since the beginning. I would probably guess sound quite a few different contracts. But anyway, we don't know anything about Hakim's business. Let's see. What is the real intention of a woman who is already a millionaire, who is successful in her own right, asking for 50% of her ex-husband's money? Yeah, which part of the money? The assets or income? We don't know that yet. I know you just said of her ex-husband's money. Usually what will happen is they will get to court and they will have to actually get through the details of that. And like I said, I meant that when I said it earlier, that if I was the kind of guy that would marry a richer person, right, and a richer woman, and somehow she's asking for divorce, and now I'm butthurt, okay, and I'm now butthurt that she's wanting to leave me, and she's richer than me. I'm asking for 75% of everything, of our fortune, not her fortune. Yeah, I know in her mind, she was the only one playing the volleyball in the field. She was the only one making all that money as an Oprah. I'm asking, listen, I just chopped premium breakfast. Damages at a heart emotional level. I'm asking for 75%. Why? Because I know I'm probably not going to get more than 40%. So I need to start where it makes sense. Now, if my lawyer tells me that the court will think I'm greedy, that I'm acting out of lack of faith, then I will say, okay, what number makes sense? My lawyer will probably say 50. I'll say, no, let's push it to like 57.5%. Why? Because it's not fair. I chopped breakfast, premium, no joke pali. I don't want her to leave. I didn't want her to. She cheated. What? That clearly wasn't my intentions, that I'm married to a person who cheated on me. Right? She's accused of touching somebody's prick somewhere. What? Yeah, shouldn't make sense there, dear. I'm asking for 72% because my lawyer said 75% will not feel real. The judges would think I'm capping, that I'm being greedy. All that. No, I'm not being greedy. I'm trying to get my own pound of flesh. I want to hurt where it hurts. Yeah, I want to hurt where it hurts. I want to hurt her in her pockets. If I find out that she's been storing all that money with her father, we're going in. We're pulling all kind of documents, subpoenas, we're finding everywhere. Listen, let me even tell you, I'm going to probably lose more money than I will get fighting this fight. Who cares? I want to hurt. I want to hurt where it hurts. I'm more concerned about hurting her than the actual money because of the premium breakfast. I won't be, my coconut head will be just on premium. Why? Because I just chopped premium breakfast. What do you want me to tell you? But be fair. Be fairness. Let's not be greedy. Son, do you not hear what I'm saying? Everything that got us here was not fair. Okay? It wasn't fair. Why? As a stay-at-home husband, okay, maybe not stay-at-home husband, maybe I'm an engineer making about $95,000 a year, but she brings in about $20 million a year. So I should just go like that, take my own. How much did that contribute in the 4 years of marriage? I contributed my seeds. Okay, my seeds no count. That's biological. Those are my kids too. That's how you think? Is that the reality here? No. Am I a firewood? No. I contributed my seeds. Okay. She now has children, legacy, that she can say, I feel proud, I feel fulfilled, I have children. But she's trying to leave me. No, she's not trying to leave me. I want to leave because I'm hurt. Let me flip that. I want to leave because I can't see myself being with her. But then she hurts me real badly. Yeah. What is the real intention of a woman who is already a millionaire? I forgot I was a millionaire. I'm hurt. Okay? I was successful in my own right. Forget that. She made more money in that last 4 years. I want half of it. Half of our fortune. Now, your money is our money. My money is my money. Okay? That's the reality. Should it be that way? No, it shouldn't be. But remember, shoulds and shouldn't are fantasies. I'm talking about the reality. The reality is that I'm butthurt. Okay? My emotions cannot be quantified. I'm going to need the help of a jury. Okay, not jury. The court, the judge, whatever the structure in that country. I'm going to need their help to help me quantify my emotions, the damages. I'm going to need the help of my lawyer to help. Okay? Not only that, if I have political power, I will use it too. Okay? Fairness. Somebody's still talking about fairness.
Halfway.
You're still talking about fairness. I'm laughing at you. You're still talking about fairness. Fairness is a core.
How did you be that?
Fairness is a gentleman. That's the reality. If you don't keep your home together, that's the reality. This woman will try to help you. Yes, they're empathizing with you. I get it. I appreciate it. That's not the reality in life. Even if you're a 19-year-old child, legally an adult, especially if you're no longer 19 and you're 24. And if you think it's going to be as simple as, oh, there's nothing, 50% of nothing is nothing you want. If you think it's going to be that easy.
Oh, beauty.
You will learn the hard way. I'll wait for it. Okay? I'll wait for it. What are you guys talking about? Wait, what happened? 3 years of marriage and you think you should ask for 50% of a man's wealth? Very mad behavior. Wait, what I just demonstrated didn't look mad to you? Of course it's mad. We're on the same page. I agree it's mad, right? I agree it's mad, particularly disgusting, particularly what my intentions are. I'm trying to hurt. I need to disgustingly hurt. Okay? An adult who is still a teenager. I'm trying to I'm worrying everybody. I'm trying to engage my worry. Okay? Because you've hurt my feelings. You've pulled the rug from under me. Right? Think about all that life I thought I was going to have with you. You just took it. That's the worth, not the 3 years. The worth is the number of life I fantasized about being with you minus the 3. That's the number of years I'm looking at. Emotions are not counted in numbers. Okay? It's going to take a few people's opinion to come to a conclusion of what I actually deserve or what they will tell me I deserve. But I'm going to start at 72.7% of everything. I want to take everything away from you. No, it is not fair. Exactly. That's the reality. I feel like you've been unfair to me to pull the plug on the life I fantasized about. That's the magnitude of what we're playing with. That's the magnitude. See, that's the magnitude of what a 19-year-old child was playing with. Petty, precisely. Okay? Petty. That's what we're talking about. That's the reality. That's why you shouldn't go into a marriage with the mindset that it's a competition. Because the person that you love the most, you will end up resenting them. You will end up becoming enemies. That's the reality. That's the reality. Divorce settlements are not determined by length. Are they determined by length? Right? Are they determined by length? No, but indirectly, because obviously how much money you made in the time period you were together will be accounted for, right? Depending on the laws, right? Indirectly, but there's more to it. God help you. You end up with a judge that hates your guts. You don't realize that? People end up with a judge that hates their guts. They can't stand them. It's never fair, even when the other partner is trying to be fair. Stop looking for fairness. Yes, if I have political power, I will use it. You need one for Okori. No. I'm trying to paint a picture. See, I can paint this picture better than Cynthia. I get the empathy that Cynthia was trying to have for men. I get it. But I think men are often disconnected from the reality of being incompetent to keep their household together beyond morality. They're always thinking of it in terms of morality, and it's not that simple. If it was that simple, they won't be begging and complaining all over the place on the internet. That's the reality. Yes, even Cynthia will have to prove me wrong later, of course. Even Cynthia, when she gets married, especially her, if that guy hurts her,
Sure, well, let's meet. He shock you.
it will shock him. Okay? It will shock him. It will shock him. Let me speak English. He will end up in
You will end up in McDonald's.
All right? That's the reality. That's the magnitude of what we're talking about. Emotions are nobody's mate. They're not fair. They're not math. It's not science. It's not exact science. It's not equal accountability. Whatever that nonsense is. Equal accountability is only cute when you can see eye to eye. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to be able to say, hey, babe, I don't like what you did just now. No, I don't like you like that. And she said, you too, you're smart. Okay, all right, my bino. That's accountability. It's a beautiful thing. But you can see eye to eye. When you end up in divorce court, all that accountability nonsense talk. Poto. In the poto. In the poto. Telling you. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, I'm about to move on to the next story. I don't think this story we're going to end today. I think there's going to be more of it coming out because it's extracting the mindset of people about marriage and relationships right now. So we need to continue to talk about it for as long as it lasts. Our key person says marriage length matters, and that is why some people wait out the 10 years mark to increase their chance of getting whatever they were strategizing for. Of course, results are not guaranteed. Yeah, you're putting humans on a pedestal. They're not able to wait that long. People get caught up in their emotions. Majority of people really believed that it was going to last a lifetime. When you say somebody is out there strategizing for 10 years to wait, if they're already at 7 years, you may be correct. And they're already hurting. If they're already at 8 years, you may be correct. They're already hurting. But it's never worth it. Not for that lady. It's not worth it for her to wait out time. Doesn't make sense. Humans are not that capable. They're not that capable. It can look like that on the surface. Yes. But no. You're putting humans on pedestal. They're not capable like that. They can't think that far. Short term to mid term, they can be evil a little bit. But there's some kind of value they're getting. If somebody is staying in a marriage for 10 years, there's some kind of value they're getting in the short term as well, not just long term. Okay? And especially that you're admitting that there's no guarantee. No, it doesn't add up for me. That part doesn't add up for me. That part where you say, for whatever they are strategizing for. If they're already at 7, 8 years, sure. Okay? Okay, if it was that simple, everybody would be waiting it out. They just wait it out. It's not that simple. The driving force in all of this, I need to keep bringing you guys back to it, is emotions. People's emotions. People get caught up in their emotions and they do all the wrong things. You need to bring the emotions into it first. Okay? Most people are not getting married so that they can destroy another person. This is exactly what is creating the mindset that let me protect myself before I go into it. And this is what is destroying people out there. That's how you're destroying yourselves and your chances because you think somebody's out there strategizing to take you for everything. Okay? I'm not talking from both sides of my mouth. Listen to me carefully. That mindset that focuses on people strategizing for 10 years to take everything out on you is a very dangerous mindset. It's an indication that you don't trust yourself, not the other person. You don't trust yourself. There's something about you that will attract such an evil person. Do evil people like this exist? Yes. But you have to point those fingers back at yourself. What is it about you that will allow you to be around this kind of person and not detect it before you got married to them, before you have 2 kids with them? You're missing the opportunity to hold yourself accountable from a mindset standpoint. Very, very, very important. Okay? The idea that human beings can play the long game with emotions, no, I disagree. I disagree 100%. That's why there's emotions. They're short term in nature. Okay? This is the part where people say, Ola, you don't know people. I know. I think you don't know people. Okay? I think people are evil because they get caught up in their emotions. I think you don't know emotions. People can be confused. People can stay in a marriage for 10 years confused. Yes. Okay? Yes, they can. But the idea that they were just strategizing, they wake up every day next to you, every day next to you because they had a target day 10 years from now. That's precisely where people operate from when they're building defense for themselves ahead of marriage. That's part of the problems that this generation is going through. Defense mechanisms everywhere. Okay? Yeah, this is the part where we have to agree to disagree. Not particularly, I'm just patient. I'll wait until you see it happen in real time, where somebody's accusing you that you were deliberate, until you end up on the receiving end of it. Somebody's saying you intentionally wanted to hurt me, and you're like, am I about me? No. And then you're like, the same reason you won't understand why they're accusing you. So there's an active battle going on. But I'm telling you why. This is why they're accusing you. They feel the same way. They thought you were literally trying to hurt them. You sat down there, you're trying to hurt them for the longest. Whereas you could have just been as confused as an average human being out here. Yeah. Yeah. People are really weird. 10 years, if you're unhappy because of money, not worth it. Yeah, they can't do it. It sounds good on paper. People can't do that. You have to be a psychopath. You have to be and that's not most people, right? All those people in the divorce court at 10 years, they're just psychopaths because they were millionaires. Like, nah, stop it. Stop the cap. Ola, I was empathizing with men with just correct business sense, please. No, I agree with you now, sit here. I know exactly what you were doing. No, you said I wasn't? Yes, you were. You were empathizing with men. Okay, maybe not empathizing with men. You were doing more of the common sense thing. You were doing common sense. It was math for you, essentially. Yeah, like you said, business sense, right? Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Marriage is not business. Marriage is business on paper. It's not business. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. There are weirdos like Anton Daniels calling it business. It's not.
Stop the cap.
It's not. Even business itself is not just business. People engage in business because it's personal. Okay? It's personal. For the most part. She said, you won't fight over something you're not entitled. What if you feel entitled to it? We missed the word. What if you feel entitled? Okay, let me change it. What if you think you're entitled, but the other person doesn't? Because I know you'll be like, no, I don't feel. No. What if you know that you're entitled, the other person doesn't feel you're entitled? What about that part? Keep in mind that everything I say here is easier said than done. There's always another human being involved. If it was just you making a decision as an adult, I agree with you 100%. If there's another adult involved at any point in time of any of these conversations, you're wrong. Absolutely wrong. Okay? If it's just you, correct. If it involves another person, that's your intentions right there in the bottom photo. It's good to have good intentions, by the way. Okay. I just think you should have emotional intelligence around it too. Some will be beaten for years and they will be putting themselves together like Humpty Dumpty every week, waiting for 10 years. They're not waiting for 10 years. They were waiting to hit rock bottom. We talked about that here over the past few days. They were waiting to hit rock bottom. It had to feel like rock bottom. Okay? That's precisely what it is. Yeah. Human beings don't have that kind of capacity that you're talking about. I don't think so personally. Okay? Generally speaking, there are a few weirdos out there that are weirdos, evil people, but that's not majority of people. If that's the majority of people, we'll be in a war zone. Okay? All right. Born is already feeling differently than you, Cynthia. She says you're entitled to something whether you feel or not. Right? She's already disagreeing with you now, right? If you have assets in marriage, protect yourself. No, I agree. I agree with prenup. If you have significant, especially significant that is really of a concern for you, I agree with that. Never will I ever kick against that. But it defends you only financially. Okay? Only financially. That's it. Okay? Prenup does not defend you emotionally. It doesn't. Okay? If you have kids, put it into a trust for them, not will a trust. Okay. In the UK, a trust supersedes anything stated in the will. Yeah, I agree with that. We talked about trust on the last episode. All right. Jesus Christ, what a day. What a day. We had a good one today. But right about now, let me go ahead and go on a 30 seconds break and we'll be right back. All right, so let's go here. How many of you watch Love and Marriage? Anybody started watching with me yet? We're watching the season, and I'll be doing recaps here as we go along the season. Okay, so there's some interesting scenes.
Hand off your
in this last episode, so make sure you're catching on Saturday night so that we can review together. There's lots of lessons in that I feel like we should be covering. Okay, let me see here. Let me just make sure I pause so that we don't get slapped with yes, Love and Marriage, Huntsville, Alabama. How many of you watch it? You don't do prenup in UK? That's weird. What do you do? There's something you do. Is it a trust? There's some kind of legal structure you can use to protect yourself from your romantic, hopeless romantic self, right? There's got to be something, right? So how many people are up to speed yet? Did you start watching Love and Marriage? I'm gonna be very quick on this episode here. Let's see here. Let's turn this on. There you go. Skip that. Let's turn that on. I'm gonna pause that. All right, good. So Love and Marriage, you're back to it. Love and Marriage is it's basically a bunch of couples. It's about love and marriage, but there's this main couple there, Melody and Mattel. They ended up in divorce. There's been at least 2 divorces, and it's called Love and Marriage. So, and it's a reflection of our real world. The real world. The cornerstone of our society is the family structure, and unfortunately, the family structure is in the mud today. Majority of people are pointing fingers at each other, thinking that's the right way to rebuild it. I beg to differ. Gentlemen, especially, we have work to do. We have to hold ourselves accountable, not because it's your fault. It just means you're a leader, okay? Saying, what can I do? What can I do to understand what's going on better so that we can create different results, right? Because our women, our children, the status of our women, our children, is a function of the status of the men. Okay, so if it seems like the devil or the or the evil or whatever you want, the enemy, whatever your enemy is if it seems like it's attacking your women, that's because they're trying to get to you. Okay, that's because they're trying to get to you. Okay, they're trying to. They know you'll be distracted from self-accountability. They know you will. Your enemy knows that you will particularly attempt as a normal human being to point fingers at everything else but self. Okay, and you will find every ways to justify it. In life, the best direction to growth is self. That's all you can control. I know it sounds kumbaya, sounds like you're beating yourself up. No, I think you should assume your soft life. I think you're beating yourself up precisely by actively always trying to hold other people accountable, and you're about to relax. It's not that hard. Relax. Stop assuming that other people's bad behavior is about you. It's about them. But that can be true. In the same breath, you can try to understand. Since you care so much, try to understand what's going on and make sure you're paying more attention to that from your point of view. Okay. So, wow, that's horrible that there's no prenup in UK. There's got to be something you can use to protect yourself from yourself. Okay. I'm sure there is. So huge prenup fan. I don't chop financial breakfast before. So huge prenup fan. I understand. MOP will say, I am talking about place of pain, and it will be right. No, we're all speaking from a place of pain. I can only talk about this stuff because I've been there, done that. Painful. Prenup is not legally binding in the UK. The law here is still very much about marital assets, and majority of the time you will leave with 50% of merit, which is not fair, according to Cynthia. I only catch some reviews on YouTube with, okay, all right, good. That's good enough. Trust me, the way I do my review here, you will still catch the lessons. Even if you have a property before you met your spouse, they will divide that up too. Yeah, that's aspect of me feel like that's unfair. But remember what I said about fairness, right? You have to pay attention to the context of the land you live in. It is what it is. You benefit from it too. It will hurt you when you end up on the other side of it too. That's just life. Ola, will you cover the family dynamics of the Scott sisters from Escape? That would be interesting. I think I should, right? I've seen some of that. That's some weird stuff going on between them, right? There's no way to protect premarital assets. That is cray. Yeah, I think if you can't protect it, I think it's still fair. In love and war, all is fair. That's a mindset. It helps you protect yourself from yourself, ultimately, instead of fighting yourself. I saw a story about this basketballer that called off his wedding because the bride waited last minute and was crying about the prenup, saying she would sign it. Yeah, they won't even, if it's too close to the day of wedding, they will throw it out in court because it can claim that it was signed under duress. That makes sense, right? Yeah. Emotions no be anybody's mate, and even the courts know this. Okay. All right. Yes, if somebody is crying about prenup and you have significant assets, maybe you should hold off for a while. So let's go back to talking about, this is Melody right here. This was the last episode we covered, right? Where friendship was involved. Okay. All right. So they continued to talk about the friendship. It was pretty obvious here that Melody only cares about her mental health, and that's it. And if she deems that this friendship is tampering with her mental health, she is that coconut head. She'll be more concerned about self. Okay, so there's a very important part of this scene this week about their marriage that came up. Okay, that I felt like we should talk about. Let's see, that was the party reunion. All right, so this part right here, Mattel, at the end of this party that they were on the last episode, Mattel engaged his ex-wife and insisted that he wanted to walk her out. Okay. He said, walk to your car, then my car is in the front. She was basically saying she didn't want him to walk. She didn't want him to walk out to the car. And he insisted. He said, "No, let me walk you to the car. You're the mother of my kids, like you're mother of my 4 kids," which I agree, right? But there's more to it, right? There's more to it. First of all, this is Love and Marriage Huntsville on the own network. You shouldn't be asking so much permission. If this is the mother of your first kids, you should continue in the conversation, and then as you're talking, you're walking out to the car. Asking to walk her to the car is borderline manipulation as usual. I know, why is everything gotta be manipulation? Well, it's not me that call it manipulation. It will feel like manipulation. Remember, Chinye is ahead of me. Remember, it's not about what you call it. Remember, it's not about calling yourself a monster-in-law. It's about what it feels like on the other end. It's about there's another human being involved, right? That's where emotional intelligence comes in. It's mastering your own emotions, and then mastering other people's emotions, and then mastering the emotions of the society at large, because you don't live in a cave. You're a social human being. Okay? So more than likely it will be received as manipulative because you clearly lack the confidence that you're unsure that you're like, it's weird, but you're unsure that this is the mother of your 4 kids. Like, you're trying to prove to yourself every chance you get that you're the mother of the 4 kids. You don't. This is the reality. Why are you still confused about that, right? Okay. There's nothing wrong. Then you engage in a conversation that's now becoming borderline toxic. Nah, don't walk me to your car. No. Because why? Because she knows that every conversation, according to her, every conversation will turn to some kind of argument, right? So he's insisting that he wants to walk her to the car, and she's already looking some type of funny and like, no, why you have to walk me to the car? And she was saying bye to everybody in the party. Cynthia, thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate you for stopping by today and being a good sport. Thank you. All right. So, yeah. So you have to, gentlemen, you have to be sure of yourself in every respect. If you're not sure of yourself, you're going to keep coming off as manipulative. And the funny part about this is that you're doing it because you don't realize that you're being manipulative, and it's worse because you're actually ignorant about what you're doing, which is why I'm covering this, right? You're being received as manipulative. Every time you're asking for permission, you're being received as, if you tend to ask for permission directly or indirectly, if you tend to ask for permissions, or you're begging people, or you're coming off as complaining, not agreeing that you complain, you're coming off as you're complaining, okay? It's anti-seductive. What are the anti-seducers? Let's find it. Which one of this is the anti-seducers we're dealing with here? Anybody want to try? Shout out to all the 16 people watching. Shout out to you. Anybody want to try? Which one here is the anti-seducer we're dealing with here? When you're not sure of yourself, and that's kind of a turn-off, right? We have brute, no patience, I guess. 2, suffocator, neediness. Yes, that can fit in there real quickly. Moralizer, police, no. I'll just leave that alone. Tight word, cheap, no. Bumbler, weird, self-conscious. I think this might fit in there somewhere. Number 2, right? Suffocator, neediness. Yes. Since you agree with me, I'll just say yes for that, right? Number 6, windbag, talkative. Yes, that can fit in there too. Because again, if you're not sure of yourself, you have a need to talk all the time. You just need to talk. You need to prove yourself, essentially. You're looking for validation directly and indirectly. Okay. 7, reactor triggered, no. 8, Vulgarian, no self-control. Yeah, 8 can fit in there too. So we're looking at 2, 5, and 8 here. Those are the anti-seducers there. It's a turn off. But I'm not trying to seduce her. That's the mother of my child. Exactly. That's your problem. Exactly. That's your problem. You're confused because Mattel, his behavior actually shows that he would like his ex-wife back. But these are the issues right here. Okay. So he goes hugging everybody that she's trying to hug and she's trying to leave. He's trying to do the same things. He's talking. Please don't encourage him because they were trying to say, people would try to empathize with you, kind of like what Cynthia and all the other ladies were doing with men in this main topic tonight. They're trying like, it makes sense, it's common sense. Why not, And like just, yeah, that's the mother of your kids. And what did she say? Please don't encourage. No, it's not even an encouragement, he says. Now they're arguing about walking her out to the car. People say argument, a little argument is, it's not a big deal. It's just a debate. I know. This is why you don't see it coming. Before you know it, you're busy holding a bunch of strangers accountable on the internet. Because your wife of 10 years left you. And you're now saying things like, she has always knew that she was going to leave me at 10 years because you didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming, right? These are the issues. Okay. So a part of me, like, okay, I'm contradicting myself. It's like, you say, don't look over your shoulder every second. And the same token, like, no, those are things you have to, this is more of an art than it's a science. It's not an exact science. You just have to pay attention to it, right? You need to be sure of yourself. You need to move like you're sure of yourself. People that are sure of themselves, they don't come off as complaining or begging people for desire or negotiating desire. They just don't, okay? But it also makes sense that a man who has gone through divorce, will naturally use common sense and think like, hey, I'm just trying to make sense. Why can't I walk you to the car? He will try to use that as opposed to paying attention to his abilities to seduce a human being. When you say seduction, is thinking sex only. Okay? He doesn't get it. Okay, so now she's like, I don't want you to walk me to my car. Come on, walk into the front door. I just want to make sure you're okay. That's all. But he knows he's lying. He knows that he's lying. Okay? He knows that he's lying. But he's convinced himself that he's not lying. So that makes things even much more complicated, right? Because after all, there are factual reasons why he should be able to walk his wife to the car. That's the mother of my 4 kids, his ex-wife. You see this conversation, it keeps going just about walking to the car. As opposed to, hey, so what's going on? I'm leaving. Oh, okay, no problem. But anyway, like the other, just keep talking. She'll probably eventually walk to the car, and then you can effectively walk out to the car without saying much about it, because there are real life conversations about your kids. You keep the conversation about the kids. Okay? All right? You need to showcase, if you really want her back like that, you need to showcase that you're good all by yourself. You need to showcase that you're self-contained, self-sustainable. You need to showcase all of that. I know it sounds complicated, but what else would you want to do? Like, just think about it. So he eventually walked out to the car, and then they showed him just looking over and just walking, right? Yeah. So there's more to the story. I'm going to come back to it in a second here. Let's pay some ads. All right, so let's keep going here. This scene, this ones are talking about the treatment. If you know this couple very well, you know that she's gained some weight because she's going through chemotherapy, and she went through chemotherapy. You can tell that she's gained some weight if you know the cast, right? So it's always when I'm watching them on the screen, it's always a point of appreciation, just to appreciate life, you know, and not be so serious about life, you know. Being too serious about life too is also very anti-seductive, just so you know. Everything is about numbers for you. That's anti-seductive for the most part. Okay? For the most part. So I'm just flying through that scene. Okay, so now Martel ended up with a friend. Okay, a family friend. This was their family friend. Had a conversation with them, right? Of course, the only conversation that Martel is having, for the most part, is about their ex-wife. Okay, he's so effing annoying for doing that. He shouldn't even say anything after a whole second wife relationship with his girlfriend for 5 whole years. Yeah, but he cares. He cares. That's the mother of his kids. Have some empathy, Chinye. Come on. Come on. He said, Mattel cannot help himself. He makes me nauseous with his antics. Yeah, he doesn't see. That's what I'm talking about. He doesn't. There's a lot of men that don't see that they're doing this. And they come from a good place, a good man place. I'm a good man. I'm a good man. I'm just trying to do the right thing. I'm a good. They don't see that they're doing this. I know because I've been there. Okay. Let's keep going here. Let me go through this. Okay. So they're having this conversation and he's talking about his ex-wife to this family friend. How many other days to be some communication? No, we don't communicate at all. So he's basically telling this couple that him and his ex-wife, they don't communicate at all. He's complaining. No, he's just speaking his mind. No, he's complaining. Complaining is a turn off. It's always a turn off. Almost damn near 100% of the time. It's a turn off. It makes people want to run away from you. It attracts the wrong type of people that you don't really like ultimately to you. Because some people will be attracted to you because you're complaining, they're empathizing with you. But in reality, it's because they're not sleeping in the same bed with you. If they end up sleeping in the same bed with you, they will run away too. Okay? Complaining. I told you one of the first things that my mother told me was, Ola, don't talk too much. Don't talk too much. I can't forget it because it was the first time. It's not common sense. It was the first time I was like, that kind of makes sense. Yes, I have a urge. I want to speak my mind. I'm just trying to speak. I need to be heard. Right? She's trying to speak up. Right? There's a place. There's a time and place for it. Right? Maybe he felt safe with this couple. The key thing is just pay attention to it. That it's a turn off ultimately. Especially if a few people around town are going to take it back to her and say, what is she going to say? She's going to say you're walking around town talking about her. You've told everybody about how bad she is as a mother. Another thing that Mattel doesn't realize is that, I'm just trying to have our children taken care of properly. We can't have 20 people babysitting our kids. I'm just trying to do the right thing. Another thing that he doesn't realize, okay? Another thing that he doesn't realize is that she starts to feel like you're painting her as a bad mother. There's no mothers that want to be painted as a bad mother. Never mind that you're just speaking the truth, right? Everybody wants to speak the truth. Never mind that it's the truth, right? What she will focus on, what her mind will focus on is the idea that you mean to paint her badly. You're just evil. You're trying to paint her badly. This is one of the things that I keep saying. Somebody will be like, oh no, he's just that guy. He's just trying to make her look bad. No, he just doesn't know. He just doesn't know what he doesn't know. Like a lot of men in these streets. I'm not justifying them. I'm saying that to you for you. So you can have some empathy for where they come from and then you can handle it accordingly. You need to be able to say, listen, I know that maybe I could do better, but I'm feeling like you're making me look like a bad mother. But I'm not trying to seduce her. I just want to tell her the truth. No, you are trying to seduce her because she's giving you woto. She's dragging you. Okay. What did Mattel do in the name of I'm trying to be right? What did he do? He filed a lawsuit against his ex-wife for custody because he said 20 people are babysitting the kids. Now, it's a little tricky. I don't think 20 people should be babysitting the kids, right? But is this some level of exaggeration there? Possibly. Does she have a lot of people around her, entourage type style? She took a quick trip to McDonald's. He came back on time, too early, and then he found out that the babies are running around, and it took her another 20 minutes to arrive. And then, why all the strangers babysitting my kids? Is that bad, good, or bad? Whatever you think it is, you are right.
Well, you're right.
Right. Whatever you think it is. If you think it's bad, you're right. If you think it's good, you're right. I don't think it's neither. I think it's neither. Okay. I think it's a conversation. Babe, like, yeah, I don't know all these people. Why are they babysitting the kids? No, it's just for a few minutes. Okay, please. I just don't want to feel some type of way. I'd rather have a conversation. Yes, she keep repeating it. You have to keep saying it. It's kind of like your teenage boy. I'm not comparing her to a teenager, but your teenage boy, sometimes you have to tell them things over and over again because you love them. But this is the mother of my kids. I don't really love her like that. She's ex. You're going to have your best chances of having a quality life is to love her for the rest of your life. I know it sounds kumbaya. That's the reality. If you hate her, it's showing your behavior, you will shoot yourself on the legs. So what did he do? He filed a lawsuit against her for custody. And in the same breath, he's trying to get her back. In the same breath, he's saying we don't communicate at all. Can you see the confusion?
Not be juju be that.
Can you see the confusion yet? These are the issues. Okay. Filed a lawsuit against her because he claims that 20 people, too many people are babysitting their kids. When you file a lawsuit to take a woman's children away from her and she's not a crackhead, she's not on drugs, and you expect her to react positively.
Not be juju be that.
Right? Are you stupid or stupid?
You think say they wise?
Right? Not only is there a almost no chance that you're going to win that case, you're wasting your resources because of your emotions, and it's going to get worse for you. And you're decreasing the chances ever. I told you, he has a chance of getting her back because I think she likes him like that. She doesn't like him right now. That love-hate thing, that emotionally passionate thing, she start tearing up. When a woman starts tearing up when they're talking about you, there is some kind of passion there that you're not sure of yourself, so you're shooting yourself in the legs. Now, this scene right here, this woman right here, she's always in trouble with her own family and all that kind of stuff. All the friendship, she considers every friendship toxic because she's needy as well. Okay, and nobody likes needy people. That's the way I see her, or that's the way she's portrayed. What's her name again? Keisha? I always forget her name. Timika? No. Somebody help me in the chat. Okay. I forgot her name. The name probably came up here somewhere. Anyway, that's her cousin. Her cousin had to take the higher road and say, hey, I don't like when we come around each other and everybody's walking on eggshells. She's trying to bring them together. Kudos to her. It's always a great thing to see a sister, a cousin who says this is bad, and they take the higher road and say, let's bring up. Some people say it's none of my business to bring them, because people do have coconut head. If anyone has coconut head in this show, is this young lady too. Anyway, so speaking of Melody, this is the highlight of this particular episode. Melody actually ended up talking to the wife, that couple, their family friend, talking to her, and then she shedded more light on what happened. She now remember we keep calling her a coconut head. It means stubborn. It means stubborn if you don't know what that means. Right? We end up, confusion and delusion at the same time. Yeah. So she ended up talking to the wife, and then at first she didn't want, but then she found out that, hey, this guy's been talking about me around town again. That's how she feels. It's the feelings that matters. The feelings that you have to deal with, not the reality, not the pragmatic reality of what it is tangibly that you can pinpoint, like, show me the evidence, not stuff. It's the feelings that you have to work with. You're not fighting flesh. Keep at the back of your mind. How would she want to come back to you? He's an idiot. Chinye is passionate about these people. Stormy, no, that's not Stormy. That's, what's her name? The third main, one of the main couple. Marcel's wife. He needs to seek help. It will push her further away from him. Fact. So now she's talking. Thank you. I hate y'all missed the dog on lunch. So they used to have lunch together. You know, when people go through divorce, it's not just the couple that's affected, the friends, the people that are used to seeing them, people that want to invite them together to events. Everyone obviously, not primarily, but everybody is like shocked usually, especially a couple that everybody considers couple goals, that they didn't know that they were going through stuff, right? So she was talking about how that they had to miss all those events that they have to have together. And then she asked, like, what about your dating life? Now they asked Mattel about dating life. He was quite honest about that, saying, not much, blah blah blah. I told you, Melody is also a coconut head. She would never admit that the dating scene is a cesspool, right? She wouldn't admit that. She's that girl. But maybe she's just trying to speak, positively about it. She's trying to be optimistic about it. So she said, coming out of a marriage, then going back into the dating isn't as bad as people try to make it think, right? Make me think. It's just as bad, okay? But it doesn't mean that you should always take self-preservation if you have to, okay? It's not worth it, okay? Self-preservation is first and foremost always. But there's some people that they're fantasizing about leaving their marriage because they think the grass is greener on the other side. We don't want to encourage such people. We want to encourage them to nurture their relationship and work on it if there's still room for it. Okay, they should at least seek professional help, because I don't want them to take what I just said and then stay in a bad situation. They should at least seek professional help to determine how to move forward. But this statement all by itself will encourage bad behavior on all sides, including mine. Okay, you're not exclusive with anyone yet. She said, why is everybody interested in knowing if I'm exclusive? That means she's not exclusive with anyone yet, or she doesn't feel safe yet to announce that to the public. Okay, that's what that means. So we're going to stop that cap right there.
Stop the cap.
When you're ready and you feel that safe, you can't wait to tell everybody. Okay, but that could also be a function of the environment in general. Maybe you don't feel safe about the environment, people knowing your business. It could be as well, but I'm willing to bet it's just nobody. It's not as easy. The grass isn't easy or greener on the other side. But again, it all depends. So y'all be in each other's life ever. It doesn't go away. When she said you will be in each other's life, she said nah. Well, you will be in each other's life, precisely. Unless that person is a crackhead and they're going to potentially hurt the kids or yourself, you will be in each other's life. That's the reality. The same things that you might have run away from in that marriage, you're going to have to do it now. You have to manage that relationship, manage your expectations around that relationship, manage your pride. Okay? No, you don't have to have sex. Okay? But friendship, highly, highly recommended if you can. If it doesn't tamper with your mental health. Okay? So she talked in this scene, when you go watch it, she talked about everything that led to everything. She continued to talk about, and then eventually she became teary-eyed again, because it's easy for everybody to believe Mattel when he's talking sulky-eyed, and everybody's trying to empathize with him. It's easy to forget what she went through. Okay, and then they decided to show some scenes from what she went through. I'm going there right now. This was when she found out that he cheated, and she was actually trying to work on it with him. Okay. And then he also was in the sick bed, drowsy as hell, talking about how he's going to do right by her and stuff like that, making promises. Unfortunately, that it did not keep. These are some of the things, these are some of the backstories that are never told when a person decides to leave a marriage. When a person decides that I deserve 72% of our fortune, forget that you made all the money, our fortune. No one wants to talk about that. That doesn't make you do. Everybody wants to talk about only 3 years. Well, you're measuring emotions in time. Doesn't work. That's not how it works. Okay. And the courts are not going to agree with that either. They will only indirectly use that because they might look at how much money you've made in that time period. But in terms of saying because it's 3 years, it doesn't create an impact or damage, all it takes is a moment to destroy a person emotionally. That's all it takes. That's all it takes to destroy a person emotionally. So stop the cap. All together. This was her crying. When a woman is trying to decide, should I stay, should I leave, should I stay, should I leave? Is the grass greener on the other side? It's on YouTube. You can find it. It's on YouTube. Yeah. But they probably will get slapped eventually. It's on YouTube. When a woman is trying to decide, should I move forward, should I stay? It's not a pragmatic decision where you say, just stay with your family. It's duty and responsibility. That's lame talk. That's lame talk. It's unrealistic expectations at best. Especially if you're not able to say, without me showing you this, you should be able to be like, she probably has gone through a lot. Not just that, he's probably gone through a lot. He has probably gone through a lot. That's not something that anybody can monopolize. It takes a lot for a marriage to get to a place for somebody to be pulling triggers on divorce. Oh no, they just wanted to hurt you at 10 years later. They planned it all along to take everything away from you. No, that's cap. That's not majority of the situation. That's minority. These are the real issues that you and I, potentially the people you know, have to deal with. Okay? When somebody cheated, emotional cheating, which is worse, meaning they can never tell if you actually slept with somebody, is worse. It takes a longer toll, a bigger toll on the mind. Okay? This is why people keep saying mental health, mental health. This was moments. Okay? Well, this was another moment where he was trying to manipulate with pictures. This is how you have to be careful. People say you want to get your ex back, find some old pictures and show it to her. I said, don't do that. Don't do that. There's a good chance that's going to come off as manipulation. Trust me, if you're that good of a guy, especially if you're the good guy, you know how to seduce a woman. She will go and dig those pictures herself. It's better when she dig those pictures herself and she's reminiscing by herself. If she's not doing that, it's just not meant to be. Let it go. Let go. Don't go and be in the pool when you're supposed to be running around the kids and showcasing that you're a good father, which can, by the way, translate to be a good husband. You're not showing pictures. Look at all those good times. That's manipulation. He didn't know it was manipulating, but it was effectively manipulating. Just because you didn't know you were manipulating doesn't mean that you're not manipulating. Just because you don't agree that you are manipulating a person doesn't mean it's not going to be received as manipulative, effectively creating the opposite of the result you're looking for. You can't find these conversations anywhere. Everybody else is busy holding people accountable. You can't find this anywhere. Show me where you find it. Maybe one place where I learned it from. It's a good chance you can't find it anywhere. Share this, subscribe, okay? Gentlemen, manipulation behavior, even especially from a place of ignorance, will hurt you. You will lose your family, or you will at least lose the quality of the love you're experiencing in your family. You will end up begging for sex from your wife. You will end up shaming your wife for weaponizing sex. But she's guilty. You're right. That doesn't mean you won't collect what the widow.
You're right.
Yes, Chinye, I think they finalized the divorce. Yeah. Which, to me, if you're playing in the water with 4 of your kids and your ex-wife like this, she's mine. If you know what you're doing, she's mine. But most times they don't know what they're doing. They're trying to hold accountable or remind her of how she gave fellatio when they were in separation, right? They get caught up in their emotions. It's not a crime. It's just most human beings, that's what they do. They engage manipulative behavior effectively. So she was reminding us of all those painful, the producers reminded of where they're coming from. And I appreciated them showing that, because I'm human too. I get lost in the sauce of like, she should forgive a little bit. She should calm down, relax, just relax a little bit, But we tend to forget. So if I say she's coconut head right now, can you see where she's coming from? She's done. It doesn't mean it's not possible they can get back together, but she's done. At least for now, she's done. Most likely for life. Because why? Because he won't listen. He will attempt every chance he gets to hold her accountable because she was wrong too. Right? This is where she was showing some teary-eyed here. Because it always hurts. It will always hurt. Just like it's hurting and it internalizes it and doesn't show it. It hurts. Divorce hurts. Especially if you have kids. 4 kids with that person. Especially if you can reminisce. If you remember good old times with this person where you guys were laughing. If you stay out of her face. If you back off, she will reminisce. She will reminisce. If you are able to back off, she's a human being. She will remember the good times too. But because you're not sure of yourself, you want to remind her. You want to walk her to the car. Just back off. Let her. If it's meant to be, she's human being. If she's a human being, excuse me. She will reflect back too. Now she's a human being. She will look at pictures. She might have buried all the pictures. She will go and find them. One day she will wake up and she will cry and she will be digging up those squares and she will cry. And then she might have a little bit of a softer heart and she might want to. And then you might be concurrently showcasing that you are becoming a better person. You're showcasing. It shows in your behavior, not your mouth. You're not a good person if you have to say you're a good person. You're clearly not good enough, at least. Not for her, at least. Right? Just back off. Anyway, this one's ended up doing a fist fight. They went to the gym together with her cousin to talk it out. There's a very important part here that I feel like we should talk about. Right? So the story here is that this person, the person in black, is the cousin to, again, what's her name? So can somebody, what's Marcel's? Let me find it myself. Marcel's wife. Marcel and Letitia. Okay, Letitia. Letitia is the one in the blue pants. She like most people lack emotional intelligence. Like most people, it's not a crime to lack emotional intelligence. We all must remain students of emotional intelligence. It's a moving target. You just have to stay humble, okay, and pay attention. Listen a lot more than you talk, okay. That's the cousin. The cousin ended up on the other side, basically mingling with what she considers as enemy, and they're actually cousins. They're family. So it created a friction between them. So this scene, when you do end up watching the scene, you will see that she's actively trying to hold her accountable, right? And she's saying that I feel bad that we ended up in that space, but she's obsessed with holding her accountable. She needs her to take 100% accountability, and if she can't take 100% accountability, she can't move forward. That's bad behavior. Okay, that's pride. That's one of the best ways that pride can camouflage. After all, you're holding people accountable because they're wrong. If wrong is wrong, right? But you're not able to read that this is your cousin. You're not even able to detect remorse when it's right there in your face because you're obsessed with accountability. So she needed her to say, I was wrong. And the issue with this is that if you end up with another coconut head like you will end up in a gridlock. And it's not just them that will miss out. Both of you will miss out on that relationship. The relationship is much more valuable to you than your obsession to be right. Keep that at the back of your mind, always. It's okay to want to hold other people accountable, but you need to be able to read between the lines. You need to also say, All right, I get it. I forgive, I hug you, right? If they have to spell it out, the apology has to be accurate the way you read it in the textbook. That's also lame behavior. You have to be careful with that. It could just be pride. Okay? Some people, you forgive them ahead of them actually saying, you know what, I still feel terrible. I just want to apologize, right? Just that's all I'm saying. Okay? That's all. That was that scene. So go watch it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. And then let's come back. Let's keep talking about it. Let's keep talking about it. Speaking of accountability. Today is a long one because I needed to do a long one because tomorrow I won't be able to be on this long thing. Okay. But I think I have one more to cover and then we can go to bed. And I started late too, so we're only 3 hours in. Only is a long time. All right, I'll be right back. All right. She's on the 51st body count, but redeemed. I was on a show last night with my buddy Sir Hill Speaks. You should check him out. He has some good content going on over there. Check him out. But I get on the panel every now and then when he invites me. It's always fun to see all these different perspectives out there. And it's always fun to watch all those different perspectives that's creating the results that we have out here today. It's always fun to watch because at least I have better perspective and I can continue to be engaging with other people as well. So there was a joke that was running there. Somebody was saying, he asked the question, okay? Do you guys know what a body count is? Before I get into that, let me just see here. Make sure that we cover that. Finish that off really quickly. Do you guys know what body count means? You guys know what body count means, right? Body count. Everyone is obsessed with body count, including women now too. They're becoming obsessed with body count because once you keep repeating something over and over, everyone just gets obsessed and it becomes another unrealistic expectation. In terms of relativity, maybe the men out there so far are all better than Martel. No, they're not. Okay. An average man out there is probably like Martel, not in terms of cheating, but in terms of knowing some of these things that's emotional level, right? Manage your expectations in your relationships. Yes, we always teach that. Is this on YouTube? Yes, it should be on YouTube somewhere. You cheaters are gross. You have to be a serious liar with no moral compass to be a cheater. I can't see Martel past the cheater. If you're at a rock bottom, a healthy enough rock bottom, you will cheat. You will cut corners just to make yourself feel better. I'm not justifying, I'm just telling you the nature of human beings, okay? Not just cheating, but a whole 5-year relationship with another man. Now, that's a lot. Why you guys getting triggered? Why are you triggering yourselves in the chat now? Very useless guys. Okay, thank you. His issues are the ones I laid out. The least of his issues is the fact that he cheated. Actually, in my opinion, but maybe they are linked together somehow, some way. Who knows? Yeah. Let's see. After his atrocity, he has the audacity and effrontery to be talking about some fellatio. Yeah. Anyway, I don't care about the body count. I only care. About your sexual status. If you have HIV/AIDS or you're a woman, right, Kathy? Of course you don't care about body count. Duh. Right? You don't care about body count. Well, most women could care less about body counts or what kind of experience, as long as it's not moving mad or it looks dangerous, like you said, in terms of disease and stuff like that. I think that's when most women start to like, okay, this guy is moving mad. Key Pearl says, I care about body count. So what body count would a man, how many body counts would a man have that will make you feel like, nah, he's for the streets. I think most men would like to have a woman who has 3 or less. 3 or less. Not 4 or less. Maybe 5 or less. But 3 or less. But not 4 or less. 4, if you say 4, that sounds like a lie. It's an evil number. And men, grown men, understand that they should not expect the truth from women, okay? That not all bodies count, okay? The lame ones have unrealistic expectations. They expect to somehow know the complete truth. But the lame behavior is extending beyond just asking for it these days. It's more so about the obsession, all right? So they will say, I don't ask, but they're actively looking for ways to find out, right? Whereas they are actually supposed to be able to just tell, just by the lifestyle. If a person has changed their lifestyle completely all around, but you're attracted to them, then that's all you should focus on, not their past. But you can't be attracted to them at the same time trying to question their past and be a detective. That's lame behavior. You don't like it, you keep it moving, right? Because that behavior is going to make you attract the wrong results too, right? So for women, not all body counts, right? Is that correct? So remember this topic, we're talking about a woman is on her 51st, number 51 body count. Can she be redeemed? That was the question he asked on the show last night. Go check out the show. It's on the show once we're done. Go check it out on Sir Hill Speaks network. No, I was answering our last question regarding knowing how body count is. Oh, I forgot what the answer you gave to. Oh, you do know the body count, right? That's what you were answering. Okay. It has to be relative to his age too. That's a good point. Okay. You're trying to date a 51-year-old woman. Okay. She's not a virgin, but you want her to have 3 body counts or less.
Not be juju be that.
You're whining, Abi. Oh, whine. You're whining. Right? You're whining yourself. What up? Third, you reply, my own is as long as he's not messing around while we're together and you're clean. Okay. You know, people's lifestyle will tell you everything you need to know. Keep in mind what I just said, that you need to know, not you want to know. The lame want to know more information than necessary, okay, because they don't trust themselves, okay. That's why. But a confident person, they know how to pay particular attention to the present. They don't want to miss out on the present, right? As much as possible. We all want to look at past. We all want to look into the future, plan for the future. But people that live the best quality of life, they know how to take advantage of the present. They don't want to miss out on life effectively, like in this moment, right? What's the difference between 3 and 4? 1 is even number. we don't believe it. The other one is like, okay, thank you. Right? But also, I think it's a red flag if a woman is walking around town talking about her body count. I think it's red flag. Unless she's a virgin, even at some point, if all you're doing is virginity crusader, I will start to have questions around what is it that you're trying to compensate for, right? We've had that conversation before, right? And that doesn't negate the fact that it's a beautiful thing if you want to preserve yourself. How old is the 51 body count person? We don't know, but the question is that if somebody has 51 body counts, let's use 23 years old for an example. She slept with 51 people. She's on her 51st. Can she be redeemed? Can that person bond with another person? Is it possible to redeem that person? Can they have a healthy relationship is the conversation. So I will go look at that. We can have that conversation more extensively later on. Let me see. If we live in a small town and you have slept with 1/4 of the city, we're gonna have to find a new location and start fresh. Reset the body count. Delete that right? Reset. Voila. Voila. Anyway, so I had a I hope that I still okay. So I had a word that I was gonna put in yesterday before they ended that show, but I wasn't able to because the show ended, which is fine. But I thought it was good content that I will come here and share with you. But before we get into that, let me show you something really quickly. All right, let's go here. Let's go find Sir Hill Speaks, and I'll show you what we're talking about. Sir Hill Speaks. That way, when you find it, you recognize it. Go support the brother. Sir Hill Speaks. He has 50,000 subscribers now. That's good stuff. So this was yesterday, I think, 20 hours ago. All right, let's go there. There you go. Let me show. So you can see your boy right there in the corner. Let's see what they're talking about.
I respect that.
Right? I mean, there's evidence. Like, why are you going to be stressing over something that they have evidence of? I don't get it. Just admit it. Like, it's no biggie. You were young and you had fun.
All right, so they were talking about Freaknik, the Freaknik documentary that's coming out. She said, just admit it. Like, yeah, you're right. Nah, that's not how it works. But any man that listened to this beautiful lady's talk yesterday and actually take what they're saying to the bank, as opposed to they're just saying what we need to hear. I don't feel sorry for you. Whatever you get from that, that's good for you. Because again, even as men, we put on filters. We say what we think needs to be heard. For the most part. Some of us obviously are content creator. We say our mind because we realize that is the best way to stay sustainable. But generally, human beings in general have filters. They say what they think sounds good, especially in a space where men are, no disrespect to Sahil's platform, where men are actively always inclined to dragging women. Not his platform in particular, but the ecosystem of that particular channel. But anyway, with that being said, the first topic was about Freaknik. Then they ended up in body count, and then they talked about empathy. Like they asked a question. He asked a question: Do men have empathy for women? And then he asked the vice versa question, right? Do women have empathy for men, right? When he asked the women, do men have empathy for women? The women on that platform said yes. I didn't believe them. Okay. Shout out to Take Heed. She was here earlier. I didn't believe them. Okay. I believe they are. Anyway, I didn't believe them anyway. They asked them, especially after they asked them, do women have empathy for men? They said no. They all said no. I didn't believe it either. Right? And especially majority of the questions that come on the shows, they're generalized questions. So I believe it's one of those platforms where they start the conversation and I'll continue from here because I try to dig into the nuances, right? So I just didn't believe them. I just believe a typical woman will not just say, yeah, no, we're just wicked to men. But also they're generalizing, which is fine because I generalize to a large extent too. So, but that's what they were talking about. But this was what I want to give you my conclusion from the show yesterday. What's the name of the YouTube channel? It's called Sir Hill Speaks. Sir Hill, S-I-R, Sir Hill. Let me this right here, Sir Hill. See that spelling on the screen? Sir Hill Speaks Network. What's the name of the YouTube channel? We did that. I like his show and love when you're on the panel. Yeah, it depends on what the situation is. Around stereotypical gender roles, no one has empathy like that. Thank you. See, I would believe an answer like that more. A more nuanced answer. Okay. A more nuanced answer is what I would require. Like, what do you mean by empathy? Well, it depends. I like to hear more like it depends. It depends. The truth is that there's a lot of women that move like they have no empathy. They can't relate with the men. The truth is that there's a lot of men, especially in the manosphere space, red pill space, that are not capable of having any empathy. When people are hurt, they hurt other people, not always deliberately. That's just all they can see. They see hurt. They see red everywhere. Okay, I would like to see more conversations like that, but it is what it is. But after the conversation, I had a word I was going to share, but I couldn't share it because the show ended, which is fine with me. I was like, well, that's why I got a platform. I'll come here and share with you. So I'm going to read this to you, and I want you to take this to the bank. This was it. Someone was making a point in the beginning, and that was, let me show you. This is a guy in red hat and red. That's Ricky right there. Ricky was making a point in the beginning that I agreed with, that went over everybody's body, over everybody's head, which is your woman will tell you everything verbally. No. With the way she moves, yes, 100% of the time. Hold yourself accountable if you're not able to detect everything she's telling you 100% of the time with the way she moves. If you expect her to tell you everything you need to know and you want to know verbally, that's unrealistic expectations, and you deserve every premium breakfast that comes after you hearing this from me. If you don't think so, you're complaining, because they talk about complaining. Sahil doesn't like when you say people complain. I think we should hear people out. Okay, they're not complaining. They're begging for desire. They're negotiating desire. Because they work. It doesn't work. Majority of the time, the context is romantic relationships, which means everybody is acting like children. Not just women, everybody. Okay? They're begging. If you want to be a leader and want the rewards that comes with leadership, you have to assume the responsibility of how your critique is received. So they ask a question. They say, they ask the ladies, how do you receive criticism? Do you say criticism is received? Criticism is received as criticism. If people feel attacked, they will receive it as, they will get defensive. That's the reality. There's no way around it. If you don't understand that, you deserve every negative response that comes from that, especially if you're trying to claim leadership at the same time. Okay? There was another gentleman that was on the show, the one in red, not the red hat, the one in red. He was trying to make a point in the beginning that I felt like it was an answer to a question that wasn't asked, but eventually I see that it was just reading the room ahead of time. Okay? He was trying to say that we're responsible for our reality. I always agree with that. But I'm also patient enough these days to know that I need to acknowledge people's feelings first before we get to that space. In fact, I appreciate Sahil's platform for asking generalized questions first and get a bunch of input and then end up at maybe some level of nuance, right? But he ended up being right. He ended up being right in that respect, that you have to hold yourself accountable, responsible first before you're attempting to hold people accountable. If you can't do that, or if you come off as you're obsessed with holding women accountable, there's a good chance that you lack accountability from my observation thus far. So I disagree with Uncle Ricky on that, because he kept saying it takes two people. It takes two people. I always tell you here, it doesn't take two people to start. It takes one person. It takes one person to start. The result is that it takes two people to create the harmony, the dance that you're not enjoying, that everybody's seeing. Yes, that's the result you're looking for. That's when you hit that equilibrium, yes. But to start, especially if you find yourself in a place of crisis, no, it's going to take leaders, competent leaders, okay? And it takes one side, okay? It takes one side. It takes influence. It takes time. It takes educating people on values, the patience that's needed for that, right? So I disagree with him on that. Men are not walking away. He said men are walking away. No, they're not walking away. They're scared shitless. They're scared that somebody's going to take all their money. They're scared that they will end up with a modern woman, whereas that's the only thing we have, modern woman, right? And they're begging Six the Goddess for love on YouTube. Shout out to Anton. They're begging Six the Goddess for love on YouTube, precisely. Okay? We are capping. Men are capping. The conversations are attempting to negotiate the desire, and it doesn't work. And it's not working. Sir Charles, I was trying to talk to him because he was having a hard time just saying, yes, sometimes you have to hold people accountable. Part of self-love is holding other people accountable. You don't want people to walk all over you anyhow. You don't want to be a doormat for anybody, because that can make people, certain types of women especially, they will lose respect for you if they feel they can walk all over you. Not certain type, all women. Yes, I'm generalizing. If they feel like you're a doormat, right? It is what it is. So sometimes you have to say, no, don't do that. Especially if they're going to hurt themselves, hurt you in the process, right? Getting the result you're looking for in a romantic relationship heavily depends on your tone, both men or women. Okay? Depends on your tone. That's a fact of life. That's reality. I don't know why everybody is trying to shy away from that. I'm still like, wait, why are we always going in this direction of, oh, you should just hear the truth just because it's the truth? No. You have unrealistic expectations. Heavily depends on your tone and how they feel if and when your message lands. That's if your message lands at all. Because sometimes they shut down before your message lands. Okay? It just depends on what you're talking about. My observation is that people who hate accountability have tendency of spending their whole energy on holding others accountable, therefore creating the same result perpetually. There's nothing wrong with holding people accountable, but I can smell obsession with accountable when I see it. Okay? The obsession, okay? Empathy is lacking on all sides of these conversations. On all sides. Okay? That's part of our problems. And it's even a higher height of problem when you point at one side only, because even if you're right, it's going to make them feel attacked. The average person is going to feel attacked. They will shut down. You're not going to get what you're looking for from them. For example, these ladies, the ladies on the screen, they gave us the answer we were looking for, which is, oh yes, women have no empathy for men. But it went right over their head because it's never enough. They didn't say, oh, that's empathy. The question was, do women have empathy for men? And they say, yes. Women have, ain't that some empathy? But it went way over everybody's head. Nobody acknowledged it. I didn't because, I don't do over talking. I'm sorry. I just don't do talking over each other, I should say, right? For example, these ladies gave us the answer we wanted and also sounded good out of empathy for men, in my opinion. But I'm guessing that wasn't enough. Maybe not enough, right? Because it wasn't acknowledged. At this point, without self-awareness and emotional intelligence, and especially from the men, you can forget about the family structure. Why, especially for the men? Why are you always blaming the men? Let me repeat myself again. Because they want to be leaders. Okay? The moment they decide and rescind and say, hey, I don't need to be leader, I will exonerate. I will let them go. Okay? Again, there hasn't been much room for seduction and attraction in these conversations because everybody is stuck on morals and not competence. Anti-seducers, number 1, brutes, no patience. Number 2, suffocator, neediness. 3, moralizer, the police. We will keep creating the results if we don't self-reflect, okay? Your results are your results. Your problems are yours. Never give it away. Let's keep the conversation alive. Okay? So that's why with that, go check them out. Every now and then I make it on the show. Shout out to Sir Hill Speaks. I'm sure you will see this either as a video later on or something. We can continue the conversation. All right. But yes, we've done justice today. I think we should call that a day. What do you think? I think we should call it a day, don't you think? Shout out to everybody that came back here today. Shout out to all the supporters. Life with Natu. That would not you be hiding in the background scenes, eh? Broke man gets no empathy. Voila. Shout out to you, Key Pearls. Shout out to you, Kathy Williams, D Love. Shout out to everybody. On your way out, do me a favor, as usual. If you can be gracious enough to hit the like button, share, and subscribe, that will be highly appreciated. Okay? That will be highly appreciated. See, I went to DP my nails, so I couldn't type. I feel you. I don't blame you. Soft life all day, all day. all day long. Hopefully been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.